was an addict for 10 years straight. So my daily cocktail was cocaine, LSD, or acid, whichever you know it as, and Mary Jane. I was mixing all three every single day, 7 days a week, and LSD anywhere between 2 to 4 tabs a day. I mean, it was just nuts. And then on the weekends, we would.
I told y'all he was hard. I told y'all he was hard. I told y'all, man.
Don't go to people who don't understand. Find someone that understands. Find someone that has been there, because at least you're going to seek the proper guidance from someone who was where you currently are, so they can properly help guide you out of this hole or this cave that you are spiritually stuck in. The entire mission and goal of every man is to seek out excellence,
100%.
Not perfection. You're not going to be perfect, but seeking excellence, meaning you focus on daily improvement. You never make the same mistakes twice. You know, you truly dive into self-development and growth from a spiritual standpoint, an intellectual, mental standpoint, an emotional standpoint, a financial standpoint. I believe your physicality and your fitness has to come before faith, because of what I said earlier. If you have a broken body, you will have a broken relationship with God. But if you have a healthy, strong body, and you have a healthy relationship with yourself, not superficially because you say so, because you genuinely do, then that means your relationship with God is going to be at the highest level possible. Whatever your religion is, of why any of these even existed in the first place. It was never about being nice and sweet and gentle. It was about directness. It was about correction. It was about getting in line. It was about principles and values, truth. Your body will heal. You could have any kind of injury going on. You could have any kind of mental issue going on. Your body will heal. These things are legitimate medicine, because your body doesn't get enough nutrients and vitamins to sustain being healthy. And that's why all these ailments start to take place internally and externally. And if you just eat right and eat healthy and don't neglect your body, the very thing that it needs, it will heal. Yeah, the red pill culture is trying to say like, oh, women, they're gold diggers. They just want you for your money and blah, blah. Well, listen, to some extent, the right woman who's going to be a homemaker is looking for proper provision. Like, in order to be a homemaker, she needs provision. She needs protection. So you can't just pretend like, you know, them looking for a man who's either already successful or on the right path.
Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called sons of God.
Like, I can't complain. I mean, you know, it's interesting. We, like, there's so many things that you could complain about. Like, we all go through hard stuff, but when you really think about like how much more difficult people in different countries and different worlds have it, you really can't complain.
You can't do it.
You can't. It doesn't matter how difficult it is, and we all have it. No matter how successful you are, we all go through it. But you can, and sometimes, you know, and Stacey and I just see it a lot in our business, and sometimes I just think, are you actually looking for help, or are you looking for validation? And I'm not even trying to get started on podcasts.
No, but this is what we do, bro. This is what we do.
It's just a thought process behind it, because that's the society we're in right now, man. And it's like I said to you at dinner that night. And me and Stacey are having this conversation regularly right now.
Yeah,
is how people just are walking through life completely godless.
Yeah,
and it's scary. And the more for the last year, like, my relationship with God has skyrocketed. If there was a chart for it, like a graph, it would be a vertical climb. And I made that decision specifically because of how much I saw people walking through life without God. And when I say without God, I mean no relationship with God. Because a whole bunch of people say, I believe in God. Well, we're not talking about believing in God. 99% of people believe in God. But you're not walking with God. You're not walking with a relationship with the man who's protecting you, guiding you, providing. I mean, like, you name it, and you're just skipping. The only time you pray is when you need something. You're not praying at any other given time.
Right. Right. No, 100%. I love it, man. And I went through this process recently, and one of their favorite lines was like based on results. And I love it
Yeah.
because this statement based on results is masculine. You know what I'm saying? Like we have men have a will to power, as psychology would say, you know. And so I don't do things that don't bring power, that aren't real, man. Like I don't care about feelings. I don't even care about my feelings. Like we're both on the spectrum of psychopathy. All I care
Yeah.
about is like what gets done. You know what I'm saying? And so walking with God has been one of those things, man. That's like, yo, if I'm doing it, you know, like it's got fruit, like it's real, you know, and it's honestly turned out to be like one of the discipline in my life that has gotten me like I should have been crushed in so many other ways over the course of
Yeah.
this lifetime, bro. And I can look back over the trajectory of my life and I can see God just like protect like protecting me
Yeah,
and getting me here, bro.
the hand of
The hand of
God
God, bro.
is over
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
to protect you from all evil. It's like that one phrase where it says, "As I walk through the valley of the shadow of
Shadow of
death,"
death.
and
Yep.
talking about protecting you. Like that's exactly what it is. And you and I, and many others as well. But since you and I obviously know each other, like you and I come across evil and evil people and evil spirits on a
Yeah.
regular basis.
Yeah.
It's just the nature of the life and the business that we're in.
Yeah.
Obviously, your life is the business you're in is has a lot more hostility and violence
Yeah.
involved than mine does.
Yeah.
But you know, when you talk about when you're looking at things from a perspective of hatred,
Yeah.
envy, lack of belief, insecurities,
Yeah.
the attacks can be pretty hostile and violent as
100%.
well. And you know, it's when you feel unfazed, you know,
Yeah.
that's how you know that you know you're walking with God. That man has the God, the good man upstairs has taught you
Yeah.
how to. The man upstairs has taught you how to walk fearlessly because he's got your back,
100%,
and
man.
he's taught you to not be affected or inflicted by
Right.
evil because he's got your back. And as long as
100%.
you have that belief system
Mhm.
and you turn to him for good times and bad times, he's always going to protect you. And
Yeah.
I wake up every morning. This is crazy, and some people might think like I'm nuts, but I wake up every
We're
morning
used to it.
and I go to bed every night,
Yeah.
and I don't just pray to God, but
Yeah.
I pray to Saint Michael, the archangel, because that's the true protector of the people. Saint Archangel Michael is the one who protects us from all evil. That is his warrior. And when it's time to slay, there's no permission, there's no conversation. God says, go slay. And he just strikes his sword and gets rid of evil when it's time to.
What do you think about what was I gonna ask you, man? The I would definitely say that men aren't fully developed until they have a spiritual reality. Like until they know their heavenly father, you know, because that's where our identity comes from, man. That's who taught me how to operate at a level higher than I could operate at. And that's the funny thing about the whole thing is like as a man in Byron, I don't have like I'm awesome. I'm like I've become somebody, but like my confidence isn't in me. Cat Williams said something the other day. I'll repeat it, and I thought it was super dope. He's like, man, I don't know how these cats do it. You know, when they all they got is themselves to believe it.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm so glad I got Jesus.
Yeah.
Like he's
And
like
he said that. I
he's
actually
like
remember that.
I love that one, man. I'm like, cause for real, man, like. Only
Yeah,
half
because
of
if you
what's
don't
giving
believe
me
in
the
God,
strength.
then all you got to believe in is yourself or the devil. One of the
Yeah,
two.
you know, which is just
So
nuts. Real quick, I want to go into. I know I've had you on the show, and you guys, you know, Sean Alexander is one human being I've never ran into. I haven't really ran into cats like myself. You know what I'm saying? And like he's farther than me in various areas. He's a business monster. He's coaching business. He's snatching people out of addiction, helping people get their lives together, helping people get their businesses together. Like he's a monster in these areas, right? But like when we met at this table, we met at in the middle of another podcast, and it's like that guy when you like when we start comparing notes, like I felt the energy, and I was like, "Yo, my man, like
it's
this
like,
is
yo,
like
we
a
come from the
brother that I
same
never."
world.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. And I love it. I love it. So, can you give them a little bit of your background, the darkness that you were
I
born
mean,
in,
look, man,
and
I
then where
mean,
we're at, let them know where you come, who you is, what I'm saying?
I was, when you hear people talk about like born in a storm, some people
Yeah.
kind of fabricate it a little bit. I was literally born into a storm. I was born and came into a family that was as dysfunctional as all can be, was as abusive as all can be. My
Yeah.
father was just physically abusive on a level that, most could barely ever fathom on a daily basis. My mother was emotionally abusive. My sister was both emotionally and physically abusive. And it was just it was a crazy life. And as a kid, I didn't know any better. So to me, as a kid, I'm thinking,
Just a
hey, this
slow
is
Tuesday.
normal.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
normal. It's maybe I'm being disciplined. Maybe I'm a bad kid. I don't know what I did, but I guess I got to get fucked up today. You
Yeah.
know, and and but I also have two older siblings. The oldest ones, because there's four of us, and the two oldest ones were born with um, a a birth defect where the chromosomes come all messed up, and it's called Frederick's ataxia. It's super, super rare. There's not a lot of doctors, almost no doctors even know much about it, but it basically cripples your nervous system from the inside out very, very slowly. And so over time, by the time they're 13, 14 years old, they're using walkers, then they're in wheelchairs. Then, as they reach like their older teens and their 20s, then they need assistance. Then they got to be fed a specific way. And my brother's being fed through a tube, can't go to the
Dang,
bathroom on his own. So it just got crazy. But then for me, between the abuse and then at the same time just seeing what my oldest siblings are going through and never having a real chance at life, I was all sorts of fucked up in
yeah.
depression, anxiety. Is this really life? And I just didn't know how to handle it. And
Yeah.
so I happened to turn to people. I became friends with people that were doing drugs
All the
and
wild
party
things.
and raves, like things on a level that most people today, what they think and know what raves are and doing drugs are, they have no idea. And the reason being why
Yeah.
they don't, and we'll get into that topic, but the reason why they don't know is because, you overstep certain boundaries with drugs today, you're probably going to die.
Honestly, bro.
Because everything is so fucked up and it's laced with all kinds of crazy shit between fentanyl, battery acid, and whatnot.
Yeah, like I just
So
wanted to have fun, man. Like, like it's not
right,
a game anymore. You gotta really want to do drugs, man. You could die on
right.
like,
You could on a Wednesday,
yeah, bro.
and for no reason by just smoking a dub sack.
Yeah, bro.
That's old.
Like
That's old school.
that's all.
People don't
I
get
was just thinking that, John. Like I ain't heard that in a minute. You know what I'm saying? Take me back,
and
man.
I was an addict for 10 years straight. So my
Wow.
daily cocktail
Wow.
was cocaine, LSD, or acid, whichever you know it as,
Wow.
and Mary Jane. I was mixing all three every single day, 7 days a week, about anywhere between an 8 ball to a quarter ounce of powder every single day, almost an ounce of Mary Jane every single day, and LSD anywhere between 2 to 4 tabs a day. I mean, it was just nuts. And
Damn.
then on the weekends, we
I
would we
told
would
y'all he was
add
hard. I told y'all he was hard. I told y'all, man.
and on the weekends we were adding more stuff just to make it crazier. So we would either add mushrooms into the mix, we would add ecstasy into the mix, or we would add both.
Yeah.
Sometimes we would smoke black tar heroin, and
Wow.
add that to the mix. So I mean, it was wild. So for 10 years straight, and in the last couple of years of me, my year 8 through 10 of using, it got to a point where I really just hated everything about life. I hated myself. I hated life. I hated people. I hated my parents. I hated my family.
That's the
I just didn't
demons,
have the
man.
right support.
Yeah.
It was the devil.
Yeah.
And on one end, I had a good time with my friends that helped me get into it because I actually wanted to escape reality. That's why I went down that path.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like the devil was doing his work. And so they got sucked in. I got sucked in. I was doing a whole lot more than any of my friends that I was using with knew
I'm
because I
sure
kept it
you
low
were,
key. I
bro,
was just
because
so abused.
you have that strength, man. Like same here, like in my little circle, like you're the leader, you're the alpha, bro. You're always gonna be going far. You're gonna be that guy, man. God's got a special path for you.
Yeah. And so I decided to play with death. I attempted to unalive myself 5 times. And by God's grace, again, God's hand was involved and intervened and didn't let me go. And I actually wanted to go. Like I wasn't at that point. I was not afraid to die. I just didn't care if I did. I would have rather just be gone, and I'll be at peace. My family will be at peace. Not really, but that's what was going through my mind, obviously. And then my final attempt, I figured, I tried to OD multiple times, couldn't do it because my tolerance was so high. And the few times that I did, I was just really messed up for 3, 4, 5 days, based on the amount that I would do in a single sitting. I tried to slit my wrist, but not just slit my wrist like what you see people do who are suicidal, but they're just kind of doing it for, because they're just messed up in the head. I was actually like cutting my veins and hoping I could bleed out. And I did in my throat once before as well. And then the final time I was like, how can I end this? Like, I just want to end. So I went in my second story house. I climbed out the window. I sat on a ledge, and down below on my porch, we had a glass table. And I knew that if I went head first, there's no way I could survive. I mean, if I did, I'd be in pain for the rest of my life. But I just thought there's no way I can survive this. And just before at this point, I'm probably 15, 20 minutes sitting there, like just kind of giving my final prayers to myself. This is it. And I'm ready to go. And then I swear to God, God spoke to me. The voice came in. This wasn't an exaggeration. This wasn't an imagination. A voice spoke to me and said,
"Yeah, let's go.
It's not your time yet, but if you go, I can't save you this time." And that was it was almost like I felt something shake my soul, because when I heard those words,
you felt the truth.
I was like,
of
"What
it.
do you?" Well, I was like, "You can't save me this time." And I paused and I thought to myself, "So you're telling me that you intervened the previous times when I actually was almost successful at going through with it?" And so I was like, "Well, that's a sign." So I came back in, like bawled my eyes out. No one knew I was doing this, by the way. No one knew that I was going to do this. And I genuinely believe that that's a whole nother topic again, but I genuinely believe people who don't talk about suicide are probably the ones that are more than possible to actually follow through with it, because they're not looking for attention. They're not looking for attention. They're not looking for validation. They're not looking to be told you're amazing. You just want to disappear permanently.
Yeah, that's all my friends in the Marine Corps that committed suicide. We had that actually did it. It's like the dog that barks is not the dog that's going to bite you. It's a dog that doesn't say anything and just rolls up on you. That's the dog that's going to bite you. None of my homies who said anything, they all tapped out. They're gone, bro. They are gone, unfortunately. We wish they would have said something, but the cats who say stuff, thank God they say stuff. I'm not saying don't say something.
No,
say
for sure.
No,
you definitely.
I don't trust any of y'all anymore. My boy gives me a weird text message these days, homie. I'll trust none of y'all. I'm going over to your house. No, that doesn't mean I don't trust none of y'all no more, man. Been too long.
No,
but anyway,
100%. You definitely should. I'm not saying that doesn't mean you're not going to follow through. What I'm saying is, because I don't want anybody to get the wrong message from what I just said.
Yeah, what you're saying is still accurate though, because the silent dudes, they just punch their ticket, man.
Yeah, they just punch their ticket and call it a day. And if you are feeling that way, you definitely need to speak up. You need to open up to someone that you believe is going to help you.
Please.
Boom! I want to invite you guys to the Man of Peace protocols and implementation groups. So if you've been watching the podcast and you're like, yo, this is pretty cool, I'm really liking the vibe, all the things, we have underneath the show, in the show notes, hit the link, and we have implementation groups. We meet monthly. We are a fellowship, the Man of Peace Fellowship. We have live events. We have all kinds of things. Get into the implementation groups. We meet over Zoom. We are going through life together, working on being the best sons of God, men of peace we can be. We're working on making sure that we're operating at the highest levels in spirit, soul, and body at all times. So if you love the vibe of the podcast, I want to encourage you, take the next step, go to the next level, join the implementation groups, join the actual fellowship, meet other men of peace. Let's train together. Let's work together. Let's do life together. Let's execute on the will of the Father together. Blessed are the peacemakers. You guys know the rest. Enjoy the rest of the podcast.
And don't go to people who don't understand. Find someone that understands. Find someone that has been there, because at least you're going to seek the proper guidance from someone who was where you currently are, so they can properly help guide you out of this hole or this cave that you are spiritually stuck in. Because you go to people who don't know, who don't understand it, they have no idea what that's like, and they just speak from a superficial standpoint. Why are you doing this?
It'll make it worse. It will literally make it worse. Like, you may not be able to talk to your wife about it. Like, you might need to go find another veteran or another guy who's been in the life or whatever it is you're dealing with. Like, you need to find somebody who can appreciate what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And that's super important. Like I just, and when I talk about this, my mind gets all kinds of messed up because I just know that people are having it rough and they're always seeking help. But I want you all to understand, seeking help from the wrong people is not going to help you.
This is massive.
It might. There's a small percentage that have no idea. They just know how to help people. But majority seek the guidance of those that have been there, because they will 100% help you walk through the valley of the shadow of death.
Yeah. And talk to God, man. Talk to God. Like, this is when, this is when you have your closest and best conversations with God. Like, this is when he'll find you, man. When I was doing all my crazy stuff, I wasn't quite as crazy as you, actually. Now, you're a little crazier than me. but like, I'll give you that. I'll give you that one. You know what I'm saying? But like, like when I think one of the nights, like, I would drop like 10 pills of X at night, and and then smoke a bunch of weed, do all kinds of crazy stuff. But I remember one time we got some stuff that was laced weird, man. And me and my boys had this code, like, we don't go to hospitals, bro. Like, we gonna ride this out. We gonna all die right next to each other on the couch, maybe.
Yeah, I can respect
that. But we don't go to hospitals, dog. And we're just sitting there, and I just remember being like, man, I think we messed up, man, because you could just feel like something was off, man. And that's when I had some of the closest talks with God about what was going on, what I was doing. And he wasn't sitting there being like, hey, Byron, you're high right now, I can't have a conversation with you. It was not like that. He was right the frick there with me. And he got me through that, man, as I was like, Father, I think I messed up. You got to think of it like a son, man. Like, if your son was addicted to heroin, would you want him to be ashamed and be out in crack houses, doing crazy things and vulnerable to the world? Or would you want him to just, like, be with you? Like, even if he can't quit, like, even if he needs to relapse a couple times, like, just at least you could maybe just sit on the bed and keep an eye on him. I don't know. But, like, I know a dad or even a brother would rather just talk to me, and that's how God is. He's not like waiting for you to get perfect. We're never perfect. I'm still not perfect. If I let Byron take the wheel, I could destroy my entire life by like lunch. Like by the night at 2 p.m.
The entire mission and goal of every man is to seek out excellence.
100%.
Not perfection. You're not going to be perfect, but seeking excellence, meaning you focus on daily improvement. You never make the same mistakes twice. You truly dive into self-development and growth from a spiritual standpoint, an intellectual, mental standpoint, an emotional standpoint, a financial standpoint. Physical standpoint for sure. That's actually, to be honest, I put that number one above everything else, because you become physically strong, then you'll naturally become mentally strong. And then when you're physically and mentally strong, you'll become emotionally strong. And then when you have those three together, you will 100% absolutely become financially strong, unless you just choose to not care about financial strength. And that's okay if you don't. But if you put those three together, you will 100%, with the right focus, the right concentration, the right discipline, you will absolutely become financially successful to whatever means that means for you.
Yep. And I want to dig into that a little bit, especially in the Christian community, because cats be thinking they could just be spiritual, and it's like good enough. It's not good enough, bro. Like, the Bible clearly tells you to glorify God in your body. We were talking about a verse yesterday where it was talking about, and Jesus grew in stature, in wisdom, and in the favor of the Lord. And when we talk, you guys hear the way I talk, right? Your body gives you earth consciousness. Genesis, let man have dominion. You need a body to get stuff done down here. That's why angels aren't kicking in the door and saving children that are being raped and murdered right now. Either good dudes show up and do it, or they don't. Good dudes driven by the Spirit of God don a sword and save lives. Or, miracles happen, but like generally this is our experience at Lordship, and there's a war going on between these two kingdoms. Your soul, your mind, your will, and emotions is the part of you that's being saved, right? This is the part of you that can go either way. You know, you can go to the dark side, you can go to the light side. You can do it in one day, in 10 minutes, you can be on either sides. But this is the part of you that's being transformed. Be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, the renewing of your mind, will, and
Yeah.
emotion. Your soul gives you self-consciousness. Your spirit gives you God consciousness. If you ain't got all three, homie, you're not a fully formed human. You're not a fully formed adult male. So don't neglect
You know what's
the
funny
physical.
about that?
Send it.
No, you know what's
Get
funny
'em.
about that. So this is interesting. About a month and a half ago, I walked into church and I was standing there and actually didn't care to sit down at that time. For some reason, I was just like in a certain mental frame and I just wanted to stand. Like I was on point. My mental game was on point. I showed up for the right reason. Obviously, I always show up for correction.
Yeah.
I don't like to show up just to say I went to church.
Yeah,
I can't
it's not a
stand
check
that.
in the box.
No, I always show up seeking correction every single time without fail.
That's
And
love.
one of the guys,
That's real love.
yeah, absolutely. And one of the guys that helps out and assists before church gets started, once it was started, he's standing next to me. And we had kind of dove into a lot of topics and a lot of things that were coming out of the Bible. But somehow, I don't know how, but we kind of brushed into the topic of health, wellness, physical fitness, physicality, mental and physical strength. And we did end up discussing, again, we're under God's roof, but we did, while the sermon is taking place, we ended up discussing how 80% or more of every single person sitting in a seat is overweight, obese, unhealthy,
You're gonna trigger me.
broken,
Right,
busted, and
I'm
disgusted.
about to run.
And listen, this intention is not to trigger anybody or piss anybody off, but it was the reality. When we got into that, I asked him, I said, why don't we talk about health, wellness, longevity, and physicality more in the church?
Yep.
Because let me tell you something, this is going to fuck some people up. I don't care how much you can say you have a great relationship with God. If you are physically broken, it is impossible to have an outstanding relationship with God for the right reasons. Because if you all have a broken relationship with yourself, that means by extension, you have a broken relationship with everything and everyone else at the same time.
And
you cannot disprove that.
I've hired and fired hundreds of dudes at least. And I'll tell you, when I see somebody who's overweight, your standards, bro. When I look at you, I see your standards. Your standards tell me things about yourself. If you don't respect yourself, if you don't have discipline, if you can't control yourself first and foremost, I know that character trait's going to show up in your work ethic, your relationships, your everything that you do. And it's just a matter of time. Even if I like you, I love you guys, man. Like I'm not. You said something else that was massively powerful. You said you go to church for correction. The Bible talks about how God disciplines his sons. That's how you know you're his son. That little bit of conviction, like, man, I probably shouldn't have done that. That's the spirit of God in you being like, bruh, like you discipline is the love language. It's a masculine love language. Men establish standards. Now, your dad's the one who's going to look at you and be like, yo, son, I love you, but that's garbage. You can do better. You got my last name. You better go back out there. And you better hit the standard, right? So God's going to do the same thing with you. And in the Bible, it talks about making sure your body is the temple of God, honoring God in your body.
Absolutely.
Growing and becoming a strong man. There ain't a single one of the prophets, the disciples, they did physical things. These dudes were walking miles per day. These dudes were doing all kinds of things. So
carrying blocks, carrying wood, logs. There's I mean, physical demand just 50 years ago was significantly higher by 1,000% than it is today. And let alone go back to a couple thousand years ago. That's all it was. Living life as a man, woman, and a child was physically demanding 24/7 regardless.
And everything.
Now people take it for granted. They take advantage of it.
And everything.
It's a privilege to have what we have today.
100%. And everything. And this is why the soul realm is so much your mind, your will, and emotions needs so much work, because your relationship to food is an emotional relationship, depending on your level of
Yeah.
consciousness. Lack of accountability in that area. That's where Satan is the prince of darkness. Darkness represents ignorance. So in your ignorance and your lack of awareness and accountability, you start gaining weight, right? You're stressed out at work, so you're eating because of dopamine. The first tool, second tool that Satan used to destroy humanity was food. The first was religion. The first was, hey, Eve, if you do these things, you'll be like God. When God created a garden to kick it with you, because the whole thing is relationship. He wants to do life with you. He wants proximity and relationship. So Satan says, if you do this, you'll be like God. This is religion. And then he says, if you eat this, right? So the second tool that was used to destroy mankind, what probably kills more people than anything else on the planet, is food, dog. So, like, God gave you this body to be a good steward with, and now you're losing this battle. Mind you, a lot of people don't realize we're in a biological war, so you're under attack in so many ways you can't. If you
everything biological,
like,
spiritual, mental warfare,
But this is a massive area. I want to jump. I'm glad that you mentioned it, because men need to hear it, man. Your stewardship, your physicality is a reflection of your lordship, your kingship, your stewardship of your body.
Well, and your principles and your virtues, because listen, a conscious choice and a conscious decision to be undisciplined, no matter your circumstances, no matter how busy you are, or no matter how much time you don't have, what you do.
Yeah, we all got
the conscious choice of being undisciplined makes you a liability to yourself, to your family, your friends, your colleagues, your liability to everything, because you're consciously choosing to be undisciplined, which means, by extension, when life gets inconvenient, when life gets tough, you will turn on the very people you claim to love, because shit got difficult. And your choice of undiscipline is going to leak and bleed onto those very people.
100%. Because, like, this is one of those things, man, where you can't lead people farther than you've gone. I can't lead my family farther financially than I've gone. I can't. When I walk, guys want respect. You want honor. When I walk up in my house and my family's watching me 24/7, and they see a man that's up at 4 a.m. every single morning, in the gym every single day, hammering, working, sitting at this very desk for umpteen hours a day and night, hammering, building, doing these things. Your family, you want honor, you want respect, honor yourself by disciplining yourself, and respect and honor what God gave you by disciplining yourself. And then you'll see that it'll be organic. They'll be looking at you thinking to themselves, like, I can't do it. My dad's a savage. And you won't have to ask anyone to honor and respect you. Or if they disrespect you, you'll know, because you earn your respect every single day under heaven before God, and in the mirror right here. You'll know it's about them. It ain't about you. And then you'll be able to deal with it in a very mature way. You'll be able to deal with it as a grounded based male, because you're like, look, I gain my respect every single day. I move thousands of pounds before the day even starts. Yeah. If you got a problem, that's about you. You know what I'm saying?
The thing that we're seeing the most, and I know you see this too, but I really see it a lot because of the space that we coach in.
Yeah.
Is that men and women are seeking validation for their inadequacies, their shortcomings, and their broken mentality, broken behavior, broken habits, more than they are seeking knowledge, inspiration, education, hard work, change your life. Because when I say, hey, it's going to take you 12 months to change your life, of undeniable discipline, commitment, no bitching, no complaining. Yeah, it's going to be hard. Yeah, it's okay if you bitch a little bit, because it's going to be hard. You change your whole life around. You got some new things that are going to have to take place in your life.
It took you how many years to get here? And you can get out in 1 year, homie. Go ahead, get him
in 1 year. But you choose everything else besides that, then you're not seeking correction. You're not seeking improvement. You're seeking validation to adhere to your broken ass mentality and your broken ass behavior and your broken ass lifestyle. And here's the other thing too, to top that off, is, some people, sure, we can say their reasons may be valid. You got some chronic illnesses. you got autoimmune, you got physical ailments, you got injuries like spinal injuries. But I can 99.9% guarantee that anybody who uses those reasons has also not taken their body beyond a threshold to see what is the max capacity I can develop myself with these ailments. They take the ailments, and that is the reason why they can't, versus, you know what? These are my ailments. Let me see how far I can go before it actually puts me to a stop. And then that's where you just maintain. So are you gonna choose that and be in a different place a year from now? Or would you rather live in the same broken ass mindset and the same broken ass lifestyle and the same broken ass body for the next 40, 50, 60 years?
Do you think you can teach people this? Because like for me, right? Like I had a time in my life where I was getting like fatter than I wanted. And what did I do? Homie, I went on a 40-day fast, bro. I went on a 40-day fast. I literally was like,
that's nuts.
No. I literally was like, no. I was like, nah, like either I'm going to die or I'm going to get back to where I want to be. And I literally went on liquids and my Thunderwater recipe out of here for 40 days, bro. And I mean, honestly, it was one of the most amazing, prolific spiritual experiences I had as well while doing that, because when you gain control, when you take control of that soulish realm, you silence those carnal voices, which are really what control us and cause us to hear all these different voices and fall as men into all the sensualities and the appetites and all this. When you dominate that space and you say, I'm going to run off the spirit for the next 40 days, bro, you go to I got to do it again. I'm just getting up the balls to do it again because this is a thing, but I still do fasting constantly. I ain't gone up 40 days since, but what I'm saying, man, is like people, I noticed for me, I don't have an addictive personality. And this actually comes back to something I want to touch on, which was how you got out of that spot. Like I don't have an addictive personality because I'm willing to die for my honor at any given moment. Like I literally looked at my life when I was partying and doing all the drugs, and when I was like, yo, I need to get my stuff together. I need to hear from God. And I said, look, or when I was drinking, when I came back from war, there was a period where I drank every night. I drank a fifth of vodka for 30 days. And I remember being like
PTSD.
Yeah, man. I was like, look, I'm either going to die or I'm going to stop drinking. I'm either going to die or I'm going to freaking shred up in the next 40 days. I'm either going to die or I'm going to stop smoking. But I wonder if it's something that's built into me, but you do a lot of coaching too. Do you find people that are able to flip that switch that maybe can develop it? Or is it like, I don't want to believe it's something that's built into them, but I just had the switch.
It's more, no, you know what? I'm glad you said that, because that's what I did. That's how it went down with me also. But here's the thing. The desire, people do have it, but the desire, one, has to exist first. Number two, which is actually probably more important than number one, is you have to hate the current circumstance so deep inside your brain, inside your mind, inside your soul. You have to hate it so bad much, that the desire supersedes everything else. And you're like, you know what? I will do whatever the fuck I actually have to do to make this change and actually mean it, like literal life or death. So kind of like what you said, the way I got sober, I got sober and did not relapse, which I always get into these weird conversations. But well, then you were never really an addict. No. When you have tried to kill yourself and unalive yourself 5 times,
the guy got the T-shirt, man.
God
Come
speaks
on, man.
to you, and tells you, "I can't save you this time," and you've already battled and been face to face with death. It's a different story. It's a different conversation. So the deal. So here's what's funny about it. When I decided to get sober after that final time, God spoke to me. I the very next day that I woke up, I actually made a deal with the devil. I didn't make a deal with God. I made a deal with the devil, and I said, listen, I'll make you a deal, because the withdrawals were already coming. It's only been 24 hours, but remember, I have done so much
for you. You know the boys are coming. They're going to put the hurt on you.
Yeah, the moment the high is coming down, the withdrawals start kicking in. So I made a deal with the devil. I said, all right, devil, I'll make you a deal. I'm going to get sober. I'm going to fix myself. I'm going to get healthy. I'm going to reverse engineer this entire process. If I slip, if I relapse, I will pick up my gun and I will eat a bullet, because there is no way I'm coming back from that. So I'll make that deal. And I made that deal. And the first 6 months when the withdrawals were so aggressive and so heavy, the thing that was hanging over my head, because remember, still, I wasn't afraid to die. So death was not a fearing complex anymore at that point. So I knew I'm going to follow through with this thing dangling over my head, knowing if I relapse, if I pick up that smoke or if I pick up that powder or that green, it lights out. I wasn't afraid and I meant it. So that hung over me for the entire process until about 2 years. I mean, the withdrawals finally were gone. Were like not as heavy after about 6 months, because right out the gate, I knew I had a few things I had to do. Start working out, start eating clean, start getting spiritual, start talking to God every single day. Stop hanging out with my friends. No more alcohol, even though I wasn't addicted to alcohol. No more anything that could influence me to touch any of that stuff. And again, even at that time, I was working out 2 times a day, sometimes 3 times a day, while trying to work hard, trying to get my bank account right again. And that me redeveloping mental and physical strength helped me become emotionally strong, which allowed me to control my mind from wanting to seek out drugs. And over the course of after 2 years, and mind you, no women either during that entire process.
No vices.
I had no sexual desires. I did not seek any females. I didn't want to sleep with anybody, because I knew that if something emotionally triggered me, I'm going back. So I had to make sure that there was no possibility. So after about 24 months, I woke up and I was like, I think I finally got this thing under absolute control. I can accept I'm an addict. I will be an addict till the day I die. That will never go away. I will never wake up and say I'm not an addict. I'm just no longer a drug addict.
I love
and
it,
as long as I adhere to the new standards and I start to develop new principles and values and virtues of what I want my life to be, and as long as I get around the people that have life the way I want it, it's going to be very difficult to lose, because when I fall, there'll be people there to guide me. And when I fall, I'm going to fall forward. I'm not going to fall backwards. And so I went through this very aggressive learning process and learning curve and self-development phase, which is just a bit of part of my life since. And
that's massive.
God's blessed me.
100%. No, I think you touched on some gear, man, some good stuff in there. Monk mode, gentlemen. Mother freaking monk mode, homie. Like, I mean, scorched earth, bro. If it ain't moving you forward, if you ain't gaining momentum, because I did the same thing. I was getting out of the Marine Corps. I was doing all these drugs and partying, and my situation was different in that I was like making good money. I was on cloud 9. I was traveling the world. I was smashing breezies all over the planet. You know what I'm saying? I was just doing drugs while I was doing it, because I'm super, we're both super strong. Like, I'm highly,
Superman. You're Black Superman.
Yeah, right. Like, I'm highly functional. I could be 4 or 5 pills deep, and I'm having a conversation with you like this, being like, "Look, man, I'm fine, honestly." And so, like, I remember being kind of like, "Dude, I gotta stop this." And what I did was I did the same type of thing, man. I went monk mode. I moved across America to Florida, got out of my whole entire old environment, stopped listening to music, stopped listening to any and everything, and I sought God. I started spending time with Him every single day. I changed what was going into your heart. The Bible says out of the heart flow the issues of life, the seed, the soil that's in your heart. That's what comes out of your mouth. That's what starts to manifest in your environment. So I turned off all the stupid pop culture. I remember listening to Eminem one day and being like, I'm not mad at my mom, bro. Like, just stop, And I started like, calm down, bro. Like, I'm mad at her, but like, not like you, dude. You know what I mean? Like, and so like, I remember just being like, I remember like listening to, all of a sudden I became conscious of like the garbage that was going in my body. And I remember having this whole like, dude, and I've had God experiences before this, like I was already a Christian, but like this was when Byron actually decided to get serious, went into monk mode. I think I listened to 250 self-help audiobooks within like a short period of time, like 6 months to a year. I freaking and everything started to change because I started to change my programming. I deliberately overwrote all of the programming. I'm listening to books of guys that have solved problems that are universes above anything
Right.
I'd ever seen in my life. So how am I going to create a business or make money as a veteran problems? Like how am I going to, and for me, I was trying to free myself from the slave trade. I was doing a bunch of executive protection, but I wanted to get into the entrepreneurial game because I wanted my time back. I wanted to buy myself out of the slave trade. So like that changed my entire perception, perspective. And what you said the same thing, bro. You went underground. You were working out 2 or 3 times a day, releasing those positive endorphins, proving to yourself that you can, proving to yourself that you're in the driver's seat.
Yeah, I was developing legitimate self-worth, not superficial positivity and fugazi ass compliments that I don't need.
Great. I am great. Like, nah, confidence comes from
here.
experience with yourself.
Like real work.
Experience.
Real work, like value added work that I can wake up the next day and say, like, I put in the work today. I did the footwork. I focused on my body. I ate the right thing. I made sure that I consumed not just the right things orally, but I consumed the right things mentally and intellectually at the same time. I consumed the right things spiritually at the same time. Those became very, very key elements in my success into sobriety, into my body, and then obviously with business, and then my relationships between personal and people and friendships. And I just, until you realize that these things are going to be key elements in the quality of life long term, it's always going to be a struggle.
Yeah.
And not a good struggle, a negative struggle, a struggle that's going to be spiritually and bone breaking every single time, because you're not going to believe that there's a way out.
Yeah. No, and that dude, you hit a dang good one, because a lot of these dudes, and I mean, this last year was like this for me, man. A lot of these guys need the light at the end of the tunnel. They need the freaking carrot in front of the horse. And for me, the battles that I learned the most and developed the most in were the battles where I just decided, look, I don't need no light at the end of the tunnel. Like, I just need to show God I ain't no punk. I don't even need to know that it's all going to be good. I just need to fight. There's no light at the end. I don't know how I'm going to make it out of this, but I know this: if I die, I'm going to die while I'm fighting this, and that makes all the difference. And because sacrifice is the language of God, man. It's the language. Even the pagan gods, even the evil spirits, they want you to sacrifice things. Sin feels like freedom until you try to stop. You know what I'm saying? And you're what you don't realize is you're living in the world and it feels like freedom, just like skeet, doing all these drugs and all this stuff. But you're just time, energy, focus, financial assets. It's just being wrung out as a man, especially, homie. You're sitting there staring at titties on the internet for 15 minutes. Then you're beating off and you're freaking giving up testosterone. Then you're spending money on date with some chick. Then you're over here watching some stupid sports or something. Then you're over and you're just sitting here giving a blood transfusion to all these things that end up bringing you
that don't serve you.
That just don't serve you. Yeah, I'm saying. And until you learn to keep, and the spiritual path, the path God will put you on, is one of chastity, self-control, discipline. And what does that end up doing? It takes all that power and it controls it, and you end up harnessing it. Your sexual energy, your focus, you start managing your time, you start managing your diet, you start managing your responses, what makes you react, the way you move, and then you start to have all that power to devote to something constructive that God will point you in the direction of. And then you become powerful because you're able to harness your power. You know what I'm saying? Power without purpose is a problem. And that's what
there you go. Boom. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Power without purpose is a problem.
Yeah, man.
That's great. And that's the truth, because what's the quote that they say in every superhero movie there is: with power comes great responsibility.
100%.
And that power must have purpose in order to have responsibility.
100%. Because, dude, I'm right. We're dropping bombs on him, homie. I'm with Viktor Frankl, man. Logotherapy, purpose-driven therapy. What's the meaning? Find an empowering meaning in everything. What me and you did, we found a way to make the darkest and most deadly times in our lives, we made them serve a higher purpose. And you can always do that. Viktor Frankl was in internment camps and watching his friends get incinerated and some of the hardest things you could ever be. He wrote the whole doctrine of purpose-driven therapy. And if a man in that place can say, if you can find the purpose, the will to meaning, find meaning, and empowering meaning, you can draw power from anything that happens to you. And you're over here dealing with what? Living at your mom's house, girls don't like you, you're fat. What is it? You know what I mean? Like you ain't dealing with problems like that. And so I'm telling you, bro, this finding meaning and then devoting yourself to this new war of personal development, of demonstrating the glory of God and the masculine form, which is what your task is while you're here. You know, said differently, excellence, demonstrating the glory of God, walking in physical form. Like that's what we're here to do as men. Now you're growing up. When I became a man, I put away childish things. These are the things.
Yeah. You know what's funny is I think people don't understand that in order to be excellent, it requires
death.
No, it requires constant correction.
Yep.
There is no excellence without correction. And the only way you can ever reach a level of excellence, which is basically, that's why it's not perfection, it's excellence, because excellence requires every single day work, every single day correction, and it's never ending. It's a never ending process. Self-development is a never ending process until the day you die, or until you get to a point where you're like, I've made it. I've made the money that I want. I have a beautiful family. I got the kids. I got the wife. I got the house. I have financial freedom. I can go and do whatever I want, whenever I want, whatever that level of success means to you. Then maybe if you decide to hang up the horns and you don't want to be so, blazing with self-development anymore, okay, you get a pass at that point, because now you've pretty much achieved the highest level of life. And you know what? To be honest with you, I don't know anyone that actually walks away from self-development.
That's what I was about to say.
If you're that into it.
Because
sometimes I meet some folks that are super successful, and they just kind of crawl away from the whole process of self-growth, and they never have to go back to it. They've made it enough to have everything they want, which is fine. But the problem that I find with those people is that their IQ declines significantly and dramatically at a very fast pace, where now there's no more intellect in there anymore.
They degenerate
because they stop. Yeah, exactly. Your brain degenerates.
Yeah.
It's no different than your body. If you don't exercise, if you just stop, it atrophies. Well, your brain, your mind, your intelligence can atrophy when you stop. And let's call it for what it is. 90% of people have mentally, intellectually, emotionally completely atrophied. They are fucking zombies walking through life with the excuse, from a book that I read called Excusitis.
Okay.
And that's what they live by every single day. That is their code, is excuses. No more purpose. No more reason. No more inspiration. No more can I. No more is there possibility and opportunity. I'm broken. It just is what it is. No, you accepted fucking defeat because you turned into a coward.
Yeah.
And you don't want to put in the hard work anymore.
No, 100%. And there's no way around it. The interesting thing about what you're saying too is I've been on these private jets with these millionaires and billionaires, and I listen to their conversations. And I'm hanging out with millionaires, and millionaires are like, billionaires think different. And billionaires are up here and they're doing so. There's these levels, bro. If you still have the hunger, and God is so good that He'll let you go as far as you can see, and then you'll open your eyes when you get there, and they're gonna be something else in the distance, because He doesn't bring you to a place to drop you off. So I'm sitting on jets with dudes, and they're like, "Dang, man! I got the jet, I got the girls, I got the thing," and then it's like, "Well, what the heck do I do now?" And what ends up happening is they start being like, "Man." The ones that find their way into serving people and helping people are the ones that find happiness. The ones that play God and just live for themselves are the ones that get absolutely obliterated. Those are the ones where the wife's coming in, taking half. They're getting audited. They got all kinds of just hell. And it's because our Heavenly Father, Jesus, is the ultimate servant leader. And so you'll find your identity, and you will find the most fulfillment when you find higher levels you can serve people on. The higher level, like I can serve hundreds of people, thousands of people. I can change people's. When you start unlocking the way you were designed to serve, that's when your life really starts. You start to be like, wow, this is why I was born, man. And that's the game above the game, man. Yo, what would you say about? I'm going to run these. I'm rebranding Christian men. Yo, what would you say What does it truly mean to be a man of God in today's world?
Honestly,
In today's world, because it's a different landscape.
I think you still have to. I think you still have to adhere to the traditional principles that it all started with. Number one, and I'll go into that in a second. But number two, it also goes back to what you and I spoke about at the very beginning of this. Like, to be a man of God, first and foremost. Here's what's crazy. I get a lot of shit for this. I believe your physicality and your fitness has to come before faith because of what I said earlier. If you have a broken body, you will have a broken relationship with God. But if you have a healthy, strong body and you have a healthy relationship with yourself, not superficially because you say so, because you genuinely do, then that means your relationship with God is going to be at the highest level possible.
Bro,
because you can't, there's no connection if you're broken here. There's no gateway.
Yeah, let me jump in on this. Go ahead. No, finish it. Then let me touch it real quick. You know what I'm saying? Pass it when you're done, bro.
So pop pass.
right.
So that's the first thing to your question. The second part is be a true man of nobility, honor, loyalty. Yeah. I mean, that stuff is tattooed all over me right now. Yes. Because loyalty, integrity, honor doesn't exist in today's world. And that's where I say you got to go back to old school traditional virtues, because a couple hundred years ago, you betray any of those three virtues, you're getting hung in front of hundreds of people, if not thousands of people. You signed the contract of your coffin. And that's just the truth. And there's no consequence to the person that puts an end to you back in that day, because that was true treason in your village. That was real treason. Yeah. And to this day, for me, you do that, that's fucking treason. The only problem is that I can't do something about it. But what I can do is I'm going to walk away and I'm just going to exit you out of my life, and you're not going to know that I did.
Yep, I'm the same way. Go ahead. You got more?
No, because I was saying, like, those are the things. And then obviously, of course, relationship with God and always seeking correction versus just showing up to say, I showed up and I go and I have a belief in God and all that stuff. So those are like the things I just said here. Those are the core principles of what being a man of God or a person of God and walking and following God means to me in today's world. And again, that's the thing. I don't believe in today's world. This is all the time. It should have always been this way since the beginning of time. Somewhere along the lines, people got lost and confused and started following stupid bullshit rules, and validation started becoming a thing. And you know what? I'm gonna let you talk, but I got to say this: I despise people that try to say, Sean, that's not Christ-like. It's so hateful and it's so mean. Listen, motherfucker, Christ was not nice.
Right. He was
direct, straightforward. Yep. He gave you correction regardless of how it made you feel.
Yep.
Your feelings did not matter over facts.
Nope.
And so now modern Christianity and modern religion is breaking the entire principle of why, whatever your religion is, of why any of these even existed in the first place. It was never about being nice and sweet and gentle. It was about directness. It was about correction. Truth. It was about getting in line. It was about principles and values, truth.
Yeah.
If you're wrong, you're wrong. If you don't accept you're wrong, then you're getting beat up.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of how it was. You're getting spiritually beat up. Like, this whole thing of like, oh man, Christ is so nice and you're not. Like, what are you talking about, man?
No,
like,
man.
If that was the case, Christ would not be who he is. He would not have the name that he has. We would not be following the man if that was the case. No man follows a fucking nice man.
100%, man. No, dude, I love it, man.
I just went crazy. Sorry.
No, it's so good. It's so good because there's a difference between being a nice guy and being a good man. And Christ demonstrated for us how to be a good man in the spirit of love. I mean, my man is standing there. And the only reason guys believe that he's this like nice yoga teacher dude is because they don't read the Bible. Just because of what Jesus said. You are in error because you do not know the word of God nor the power. That's what he said to one of the Pharisees. And he's standing standing there talking, and the Pharisees are trying to trap him. And my man clicks off safe and starts calling them blind guides. You whitewashed tombs. Basically, you're religious and you're full of crap. You brood of vipers. These are a smorgasbord of the deepest insults of the era. And these guys can send him to death. They do eventually send him to death. But I'm talking about a guy who has literally the balls to stand up there and call them out for being conniving in front of a whole crowd of people with no regard for his life, because it's time to bring that level of correction, right? And that's the difference between a nice guy and a good man. And you'll see it in red. If you ever read what Jesus said, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, go read them and see and learn Jesus for yourself. Don't listen to these feel-good preachers who are up there who just, in a lot of cases, have succumbed to the spirit of mammon, the spirit of money, and just want your money. So they want you to feel good in church, and they're not helping you, because that's not love. True love is being honest with your friend, with whoever it is, because you're trying to save their soul, because you want them to get better. Now, do I look fat in this dress? Well, babe, I love you, but it does look like you're gaining some weight. And go be mad at me. I get to look in the mirror and know that I have accountability with myself. Go calm down. I don't know what to tell you. I'm not going to lie to you, though. You did not marry a coward. The number one command in the Bible, 365 times, is fear not. In Revelations, you get to the end of the thing. God hates cowards. It says he hates cowards. We're supposed to hate what he hates. Revelations, he's talking about these people will not make it into the kingdom of heaven, right? And I'm thinking he's going to say a bunch of sins, and he's going to say like all my favorite sins that I'm trying not to do. He starts the whole list off with cowards ain't making it to heaven. And I'm like, oh. And that's why real men hate cowards. And on what you were saying with the fitness thing, I have to kind of agree with you, because here's the reality. Those guys that have chosen the soft path, and there's different anointings, like there's different mantles. I'm not saying everybody's gotta be jacked and tan. Like there's some guys.
You don't have to be jacked.
Like,
you just have to be healthy and
a good steward,
in shape to a degree that makes you strong and powerful and physically well, where you're not going to get ailments because of your failure of adhering to your body. You don't have to be jacked. You don't have to be a bodybuilder. You don't have to have a six-pack. You just have to be capable and physically strong and well-rounded.
And it's your responsibility, no matter where you start with your physicality, to make it better and never to stop until the day you die, I think. And the reality of what I think you're saying that's super good to illuminate is these guys sitting on the pulpits, leading youth ministry, that are just sweet guys. They're just good guys, but they're weak physically. They're also weak emotionally, mentally, and generally also weak spiritually, even though they may know the Bible. And you know what that means generally? We end up finding out when shots start ringing out and the killing starts, you end up finding out that 90% of them are cowards. And you end up, me and you are in a room full of 20 guys like that. And what ends up happening is when the killing starts, me and you go fight to the death, and they're all sitting there watching, calling cops, hoping we win. And me and you are the ones slinging, slitting throats. And that's what I find with a lot of these guys. They may be able to wear the skinny jeans, be at church, be all whatever. But if they're not at least like doing something, like they're at jujitsu, or they're not doing something, usually you just find out that they're Christians because it's convenient and it's popular. But when the shots start flying, those are the guys. That end
they're the
up
ones that they're nowhere to be found.
Mm-hmm.
They're not there. They're not there on the battlefield with you.
And that's what concerns me about weak men. I heard what's his name? I forget my man. He's one of those guys. He's super arrogant, whatever. But sometimes I like his stuff because he's
Tate?
Tate, man. Because Tate still sometimes be dropping fire. I don't give a dang. He says stuff nobody will say. I don't care. And every once in a while he drops something. And he was like the other day. I seen to meme, and he was like, I don't let anybody in my crew who's weak. I don't care what their weakness is. If it's women, if it's food, if it's money. I've learned this too, managing my own kingdom. It's just a matter of time. They're going to be tested at all points, and that weakness will end up biting me as the king of that kingdom. So it's not an if. It's a matter of when. It's not an if.
Yep. There's no if, and I've full on experienced that myself.
Yep.
Especially over the last couple of years too. And any form of weakness in any of the categories that you just mentioned.
Yeah.
if there's 5 elements, you could have 4 areas. You can be fully strong, and one of those 5 is weak. You will turn.
Yeah.
You will make a deal with the devil when something becomes inconvenient. And again, it's not an if, it's a matter of when. It could be 6 months down the line. It could be a year. It could be 3 years. It could be 5 years. The problem is the longer that it takes, the worse it's going to be. And that's why I talk about
that thing has roots.
That's why I talk about self-auditing and audit your fucking people. Audit your spouse, audit your circle, audit your friends. I mean, shit, even audit your children, because if you see weaknesses in your children that should not exist, then it's your duty,
100%.
your responsibility to train those weaknesses to become strengths so that they never turn on their future friends or their future relationships at the same time. And it's just it's a wild thing that people don't want to accept, that a weakness in any of these categories is the deal breaker between specific relationships. And again, it's just a matter of when. It's not an if. It's when.
And I think that's really, I mean, I know the journey God's got me on, and it's weeding out every single solitary weakness I have. I got a Cheeto in my cargo pocket. He's like, give me the Cheeto. I know you got a Cheeto. And I'm like, yo, but it's my, I was just saving it. He's like, give me the Cheeto, Byron. Any weakness I have, he has systematically made me face every single dragon in my closet. And it just, there's no way around it, bro. Like, that's because he's creating you in his image. He's taking you on a journey to help you operate as a son of God, to reflect him to the world. And so it's going to require these deaths of all your idols, these things that you think that aren't that big of a deal. He's like, nah, man, you're not perfected in me yet. You got to get your diet under wraps. Okay, nah, man, you need to tighten up on your financial management game. Nah, you need to tighten up on the way you deal with your wife, bro. The tools you were using aren't working. You need to grow up. You need to use better tools. The Bible talks about how man is the glory of God, woman is the glory of man. What does this mean?
Yeah.
Someone should be able to look at my wife and tell something about me. They should be able to look at my wife and understand what it's like to be in my kingdom, right? They should be able to look at her and see how I take care of her. Conversely, they should be able to look at me and tell something about my God, right? What it's like to be a Christ follower. What it's like, what kind of man is he developing me into, you know? And so this is why, and we do the same thing as men. It's hilarious. This is why God's always pushing us towards our weaknesses, our failures, the things that we fear, and
because he wants you to prove them.
100%. And we're doing the same thing to people in our lives. Like you just said, you see it. Like your wife does something, or your partner or your kid, and you can't not see it. You're just sitting there like,
yeah. You know what? You just said two big points on that. One, I truly believe guys that come from dark places that you and I have been. Again, you and I come from two complete different worlds, between like your military background and dying and come back to life and what I've been through. It's actually, this is like one of the few times I'll use the term, it's almost toxic, because we can't not see weakness. We can't ignore. We can't unsee problems. Like, even if it's minor, because our life, you and I in particular, as we've grown up and evolved and had to come out of certain trenches, has required the highest level of development, growth,
performance,
maturity. And through that process, we kind of picked up a toxic trait of not being able to ignore other people's weaknesses or problems or negative traits, even if it's so minor that it doesn't really impact anything. We can't not see it. We have to point it out the moment we see it. It serves a great purpose, but it can also be toxic, because it's almost like, fuck, do you ever take the foot off the gas for a minute? Do you ever take your foot off the throat? No. And again, it's not intentional. It's just a part of who we are, because coming out of the trenches that we come from has required a certain level of excellence that anything less than would have kept us and broke us 10 times more as time went on. We wouldn't have been able to get out of where we were if anything less than excellence was to take place. And so now, naturally, we expect that from the people closest to us. And you know what? Frankly, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, cool, be gone.
Maybe we're
Because
not.
at the end of the day, if me demanding and commanding excellence, growth, change, evolution is such a fucking bad thing, then cool, go back and be average and ordinary, or go do it at your pace because it's too intense.
Yeah.
You make that choice.
Yeah, no, I think it's this interesting. I think the word toxic is super significant for this because as men, and I know there's other men listening to this, one of our main struggles is we have to live in reality, and our women and children don't necessarily have to live in reality like how we do. Like we have to be accurate. Like no one cares about your feelings. Like bump your feelings, homie. Like you know what I'm saying? Like either you do the thing to have the power, you figure out the combination, or you die tired, or you spend the assets and the business doesn't work and you get wrecked. And so that's the masculine reality. And so when we come home to these environments with people that we have a responsibility to cultivate, that we're responsible to lead into higher levels of life the way God's leading us in our private time with Him, like there's a very important, I think, conversation to be had about the delivery of these things, right? Because you can't correct someone or challenge someone beyond the level of depth of trust and relationship they have with you. And I think this is one of the
Not
reasons.
just that too. Let me take it back. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I'm gonna have but as well as someone who isn't ready or prepared or have a desire to be challenged and to want to grow. Yep. Because you could have that trust could be there, but if that desire inside them doesn't exist, it doesn't matter how much they trust you. It's not, there's going to be no follow through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's, I think that's one of the bigger pain points that I've experienced in life is where it's like, man, I can see this thing in you. And if you would just turn and face it, you could be like here, right? Like you could kill this thing and you could go here, but I got to wait for you. I got to wait for you to, like, I just gave you the information. It's still swirling around. And I kind of got to wait for you to kind of figure out that I'm right and then implement, in the areas of people that I can't just axe, you know what I mean? And so for me, that's been one of the greatest, I think, areas where I've had to learn like a fatherly love for people, because to be completely honest, and people who know me know my heart, like I'm just in a position very often where I can see farther than people because of where I've come from. I've been to 80 countries. I've been to war. I've been in king's palaces. I've been listening to billionaires in private jets for over a decade. Like and it's a gift from God. And I'm looking at people and I'm like, man, if you just tweak this, you could go here. And then they're looking at me like, yo, I don't want to tweak this. This is a good idea. And I'm like, I remember when I was like that, and then I have to sit here and decide, like, do I throw the baby out with the bathwater, or I have to kind of like sit with this guy because I love him. And I got to kind of like, just like let him come at his own pace. Cause some people I ain't gonna leave, like some of my best friends from the Marine Corps. I'm like, look, man, you'll get it when you get it. I love you, but that's been one of the pain points. And the other side of that pain point is, when you really are the type of guy we're talking about and you really are seeking and pushing and growing at a fast pace, you're going to leave 90% of the people that you love behind in your life. And this is another reality. And you're going to spend a lot of time lonely because a lot of people won't get it. A lot of people won't be intense enough for you to connect with. You're going to spend a lot of time just you, God, and the work. And that's part of the game. But you have to be there because you have to be able to lead people.
Well, you have to accept solitude in the game of life. Like there's no success in any category of life without solitude being part of the process. Even if you're married, even if you have children, it doesn't matter. Like solitude has to be part of the process. You have to love the alone times that come, because sometimes we do have to go into a mental place of darkness to resolve certain issues that might be taking place in life, or even to evolve to that next level. And if you're kind of uncertain how or where or who, again, you have to go into that darkness. And when I say darkness, I mean like evil, anything evil. I mean like just in a place of solitude where you can be alone, almost like a sabbatical, and redefine who you are, who you want to be, where you want to go. Because more times than not, you and I both know this, is how and who you have been that got you to this point is not the same of what's going to get you to the next point.
Yes.
That has to change. That has to evolve mentally, intelligently, emotionally, physically, financially. It all has to evolve. And you have to do it in private times while you're alone, so you can figure out to what degree and how much do I need to redefine myself in order to go to that next place.
No, that's such a massive key, man. And it's a lot of guys want to get on this path, and a lot of people want to be on this path. But what you just said is so true. There's two mistakes. Yeah, man. There's two mistakes I see people make. One, they hit a grand slam, they fight their way to a position, they have wins. They stop and they make an identity out of those wins, and they repeat the same moves, thinking
and they're temporary.
That those moves are the playbook when it's war, homie. You do the same attack more than once, you're going to get obliterated. The combination is always changing. Every time you take a step forward, your exposures, everything's changing. And so you have to constantly be willing to literally sacrifice the version of you of yesterday and recreate a new version of you. This is powerful because it means that this set of results, I was a Marine. Okay, well, yeah, that was 10 years ago, bro. And like, nobody
so what,
cares. Like, nobody cares. Your wife is tired of hearing your stories
all the time.
Like, nobody, like, you're fat now, bro. Like, no one cares, dude. And so you now have to recreate yourself. Why is it so important? Because this means you have the power by the grace of God. That if you can when you start to recreate yourself by about the third, fourth, fifth time, you start to realize that, like, this is God gave me this power. I'm the common denominator in every single one of these metamorphoses. And then when God asks you to go even farther, you're like, I've realized that I can learn almost anything. I've realized that I can fight through, and you gain a relationship with yourself that you've learned. I can do things by the grace of God. And then you really start to fight, and you really start to do amazing things in life. And so what you said is so important, man. That death and rebirth of who you are is an ongoing. I don't care if you created however many millions your business is, you're gonna get to a point where the old tools, you're gonna be going like this. And if you don't retool, the old tools are going to stop working. Most people just stay on it. They just keep using the old tools. They keep it. But this is when you
start to wonder what happened.
Yeah, you got to retool and you got to get that lift again. And that is really the game.
Yeah, it's just like how when you're building your body, like, sometimes you'll and I see this more with women than I see it with men. And it's really, I mean, it's not bizarre because they're emotional creatures more so obviously than us. But the lack of, no offense to ladies, but the lack of intelligence is preposterous, because if you lose 10 pounds, let's say, and then 3 months, 4 months later, you're like, I haven't lost another pound, and I haven't changed anything since I lost the first 10 pounds. The fact that you think and assume that what lost the first 10 pounds should continue to keep going just shows a level of arrogance that you expect basic common knowledge should work from point A to point Z forever. And that's just not, first of all, it's not practical. Second of all, it's not even realistic. Third of all, that means you basically assume that you can over counter science. And that's just never going to happen. Things have to change. Again, and there is no, we run into this so much. There is no Google research that is a common person who is not a professional in what we do. There is no common Google research, no matter how much you think you research, no matter who the hell you think you're following, you'll be following the smartest person on earth. There is no information that you're going to find that's going to help you to get to an elite point, especially if you're after the age of 45, because now it requires precision. It requires science. It requires data. And without these things being integrated into the process of physical change, because of your mind, because of your hormones, because of your lifestyle and your schedule, then you're going to hit a stopping point. And that's why you have to put aside the ego, stop thinking, because you're not going to find the information that's going to help you go from, 175 pounds to 135 pounds just because you're following some basic information that's on Google or following some person. You're sitting there wondering, I can't find it. Nothing's changing. Well, because you're not seeking the right help.
Right.
Put aside the ego. And here's the other thing too. Like, and this heat for this
heat, son.
if when I hear, oh, well, but like financially, I just can't afford it. Okay. I can somewhat understand.
I see you gagging already. You're already like dry heaving in your mouth.
What I'm going to say, my first thought is, okay, how many hours a week do you work? 9 out of 10. I work 40 to 45 hours a week. So what you're telling me is that you're not willing to go work another 2 hours a day, 10 hours a week to make a little bit more to change the quality of your life and health. Because there's no fucking way you're going to tell me an extra 10 hours a week from a 45 to 50 hour week schedule, adding another 10 hours a week is going to supremely complicate your life. When we're talking about gaining control of your life, gaining back control of your life, like living the life that you want to live, go work an extra 10 hours a week, make an extra $800 to $1,000 a month, go invest it in your wellness for a year.
Yeah.
And then you can be free and then come back to the regular schedule. But when people make this stupid excuse of not being able to, I mean, man, like we're changing thousands of people's lives on an annual basis. And when we come across that one, I can't comprehend the idea of affordability because you're just making a conscious choice to not go work a little bit extra so that you can afford the right help for the right steps, the right guidance and navigation, qualified guidance and navigation to get you from point A to point Z over the next year. Dude, when I got sober and I had to pay and invest to gain the knowledge that I needed to reverse engineer my whole life, I was broke. I was negative. I had no money. And so I was like, let me just go work infinite fucking hours so that I can. So, and yes, I didn't have children and all that stuff at the time. But the point is that it didn't matter at that point. If I wanted to gain back control of my life and I wanted a quality life long term, because listen, motherfuckers, like you got another 40, 50 years that you got to live in that temple. Are you telling me that 10 hours a week for the next 52 weeks is not worth it? So that you can live in the temple you have to be in for the rest of your life? That doesn't make any sense.
No, 100%, man. And it's just weakness. This is the moment when I'm doing my sales calls for guys that want to get into that want to get in the industry, and I listen to their dreams and their hopes, and they're like, yeah, I just want to be a professional protector. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then they sit there and they get to and I'm like, listen, you got 10K. You can have the pipeline that's made hundreds of guys in this industry that are operating at the highest levels. 10K. People are going to college, spending ungodly amounts of money to make half what we make. And you just can't make that. That is a lottery ticket, buddy. Like 10K, and you can have access to an industry where you're making more than 10 times that, 10 and a half times that per year, traveling the world, doing what you say that you want to do with your life. And it's like, you can't find a freaking way. And that's where I get back to like, do they have the switch? And so at this point in the conversation, I'm gauging if this person has the switch. Some guys, I remember one veteran I talked to, I said, man, look, dude, like I basically just told him like, you're just being soft, bro. Like find a way, make it happen, get what you want in life, bro. And he flipped the switch. He was like, no, you know what?
Even if that means you come back to me in 90 days, go like, make a little bit more, come back in 90 days, let's have this discussion. Like that's totally cool. Like that's admirable. I can respect if someone says, Byron, listen, man, I can't right now, but let me tell you something. I'm going to circle back in a few months. I'm going to go work a little bit more extra hours. I'm going to go figure this out, pocket a little bit extra money. Those extra hours, all that money is going to go into a separate account to make sure that I can pay for this. That's respectable. I can totally trust that.
And I'll be so shocked and happy when I won't expect you to come back. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be like, okay,
of course.
And I'll tell you the truth. I'm like, we will see, brother. I told someone this morning, we'll see, and 90% of the time they don't. But if one makes it back, if he goes and he does it and he comes back, this guy's got the magic eye, because that's honestly everything we're talking about. That's what it takes. It takes being able to say, I will die over these results. And that's
Yeah.
when you step in 100%. And that's when the change actually happens. As long as you got 1 foot in, 1 foot out, it just never, you don't deserve it. The Bible talks about it. Many are called, but few are chosen. You got a dream in your heart right now. You got something in your heart that you want to do, that you know you should do, but you will not be chosen because you will not begin to fight for that dream. And you will not sacrifice the copious amounts of weaker versions of yourself on the way to manifest that level of glory that God has for you, the person you need to become to manifest that dream. Because you're going to have to
Yeah,
die
because
about 1,000 times on the way there. And most people
yeah,
won't.
because people love the idea
Get
of
them.
becoming an executive protector. People love the
Exactly.
idea
Of
of
getting
getting
jacked
healthy,
and tan.
fit, and,
Yeah.
and successful. You know, everyone loves the idea. Women over 50 love the idea of getting in shape because, like, hey, can I beat father time? But when it comes to putting in the work,
The death.
when it comes to becoming disciplined, when it comes to doing whatever it takes,
Many are
now you don't.
called, but few are
Now you want to
chosen.
complain. Now you want to complain about foods or the redundancy. Like, listen,
It doesn't taste good.
success. Here's the thing: success in anything is redundant. Success in anything is monotonous,
Yeah.
and it's literally the same thing on repeat every fucking day, 365 days a year for the next X amount of years, with obviously adjustments to the process.
Yeah.
If we're talking about money, it's obviously financial success. It's over the course of many years. If you're talking about physical health and fitness, it's over the course of 12 months, but
Yeah.
it's all monotonous. So when people come to myself or even Stacy, especially because women don't want to believe after 50 you can be in amazing shape, and it's like, how'd you do that? And it's like, well, it's you don't get to be looking for
I'm consistent.
these recipes and these gourmet things. Like, it's consistent, it's repetitive, it's the same shit every day. The only thing that adjusts is the macros, the calories, the numbers, the intensity of your training, how you adhere to your hormones. These things might adjust, but it's all the same stuff because your body learns and adapts as it's learning the repetitive nature of what you're trying to do. It will adapt with you. Okay, cool. If you're trying to change me, you're trying to build muscle, trying to burn fat, where we have the same macros, the same foods coming in, the same calories coming in. We're making adjustments because you're stronger and you can go more intense. Like, all these things play a role. But again, are you doing it because you just like the idea? Or are you going to eat and train with purpose? And that's where it all comes into play is, are you eating for your feelings or are you eating for purpose? Are you training for your feelings or are you training for your purpose? Because at the end of the day, if you're not consuming what you're supposed to consume orally and mentally for a purpose, then you're going to fold the moment you feel this is boring. The moment you feel, oh, it's too repetitive. And then, the thing that bothers me about our industry, which is fun, I get it, but for me, it's not fun.
Yeah.
But it's fun in the grand scheme of things, is when I hear other people in my space that are also very, very successful, some are more successful than I am, that say it doesn't have to be as boring and repetitive. Like, it can be a little bit more flexible, and that's cool and all. But
They
let me
just
tell
know
you
they're going to
something.
scoop up. They're going to scoop up some temporary followers.
They're
going to get those front end followers.
Yeah. The thing for me is I want our people and our clients to develop a very high level of undeniable discipline.
Right.
And I also want them to develop an undeniable desire for their partner, or their partner to desire them.
Yeah.
And so, like, when they see us, listen, man, I will fucking gloat on this all the time. Whenever we get dressed up and we go to dinner and we're going out, listen, I can tell you without a shadow of doubt and with full confidence, we are the best looking, best fit, best dressed fucking couple in the entire fucking state that evening.
I love it. Yes. Let's go, man.
And
Let's go.
With the desire for one another and a pride of proudness for one another.
Let's go.
Because we do what we're supposed to do every single day, regardless of how we feel. Period. End of story. Period.
Because discipline and standards. because discipline and standards, man. That's
And you know
awesome.
what? Discipline and standards is a very, very high desirable commodity.
Oh my gosh. Oh my, you're like a superhuman if you have these days. This used to be
It's
the
very
baseline.
desirable.
100%. And for me, it's the sexiest thing in the world because that's what I know the secret of discipline. We know the secret of discipline. We know the secret that so many people are on the outside of the ring, like looking in, you know. So when you find a partner that gets it, that's willing to go on I just call it the journey of death, all the deaths. You think waking up at 4 a.m. every morning feels good? It don't. I mean, it's just like now it's just my baseline.
It feels good now.
Yeah,
but
but
in the
like
beginning, it
in the
didn't.
beginning, you had to earn it, bro. And there's still
It
days
sucked.
where it's like getting punched in the face. But this is what
Yeah,
I
you're like,
do. This is exactly. This is who I
it's a
am.
non-negotiable.
100%, man.
non-negotiable.
And that's where the freedom is, man. Let's dig in. Let's dig in a little bit about and actually you said something I wanted to go back to real quick and illuminate. You were talking about Googling and trying to get elite results with like crackerjack basic information. And I think that's like it's like super like I want to make sure you guys get this. Like all the gurus out there, and I've listened to all of them. I've listened to all of them. And I'm just telling you what'll happen is one, you'll recognize a pattern of information that will harmonize. You're like, okay, these are the general principles, and then
Right.
they'll have that body of information, and it'll take you to a certain level. And then you'll
Correct.
actually realize that you're just kind of hitting this ceiling, and that's because your journey is your journey. And so this is when the real work starts. This is when you need a
Yeah, because now it has to be tailored. It has to be tailored and personalized.
Exactly.
You.
Yep. And this is when the real game starts. This is even with God. You can go to church. You can go to church. You'll get a certain level of spirituality. But the reality is, church was designed to be a supplement to your relationship with God. Church ain't the whole thing. You're supposed to be tapping in every single day. You're supposed to be talking to him throughout the day. You're supposed to be making time for him in the morning or night. Like this is a discipline, just like every other area we're talking about. This your journey of having the business you want. Same thing. You read all the books you want. They're going to take you to a certain level, and then there's going to be that personal competence next level where you need a specialist to come in and say, "This is how you're broken. This is what you need to tighten up. This is what you need to ratchet up." This is the period when God will come to you and say, "Hey, homie, all right, we got from here to there. The only way you're going to get to here is you're going to have to sacrifice these sacred cows that you're hiding in the closet." And then you start being like, "Really? That's the price?" And he's going to be like, "Yeah, dog." and he's going to be like, go ahead, take another lap. You ain't ready yet. Go take another lap. See if your gods will do more for you, And then they end up, they fail you, and then you end up having to go back to them. But like, it's the same thing in every area: success, business, all the things. So these gurus ain't going to save you. They're just going to get you to a certain point, and then you're going to start.
And that's their.
You're going to start
and
haloing.
that's what they're supposed to do.
And that's
what
their
we're
job.
supposed to do.
That's what we're supposed to do.
Because it's impossible to universally put out information that you can tailor to yourself to the global followers. It's impossible. Yep. We can just give you the basic fundamentals, but not one of us can say, if you do this, this, and this, and this, you're going to go from 0 to 10 elite level.
Right.
Like that's literally impossible.
Yep. And it's
especially after a certain age. Now, if you're 30 years old, 25 years old, yeah, maybe because your body doesn't even know what ailments are. Everything works at that point.
You don't even have
the age
PMS
of like 40, 45, 50. Yeah. Like now personalization is part of the equation. It has to be. Yep. And you can't just pretend to think that you're going to guess your way into great physical health. Yep. And a lot of times this part is crazy to me. And she gets it more than I do, where a lot of women will say, I've had girlfriends that have tried intermittent fasting. They've tried this, they've tried that. They've tried GLP-1s and they've tried
everything.
HRT, tried everything. And for someone, it just doesn't work. It's genetic or it's this. And I'm like,
cop out.
Dude, do you understand? Like, here's the thing. Yes, there might be some truth to those statements. Yeah. However, what they tried was based off of basic fundamental off Google and following influencers online. It was not based off of specified tailoring to that person's needs.
Numbers, your blood work.
That's why
hormones,
it didn't work.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. That's why it didn't work. It's not that these things don't work. It's because it wasn't tailored to your current being.
Yep.
in your day-to-day life and your internal health at the same time. And we see it all the time. And again, women, where her position is to inspire and empower women, to let them know as you get older, getting older doesn't mean you have to age. And she's obviously beat Father Time on that. She is she is a walking principle, an example of that. And a lot of times women just hate instead of being inspired.
It's easy.
They're just like, oh, well, you've been doing it forever. And it's like, dude, I don't think you understand at that age, at this age and at this level, her adherence to consistency and discipline is 1,000 times more required than what you need to go from where you are now to fully transforming your life in a year. Because if she slips and misses at this level,
feels it,
her body can decline very quickly. Same with mine. My body will decline very quickly. So our consistency and discipline has a far greater standard than the average person who's trying to go from being unhealthy and broken to being very healthy and in very great shape. But at this level, for people that have been doing it for a couple decades, it's a different standard that they'll never have to worry about. They'll never have to experience. You can still have a six-pack and all that stuff, whether you're a man or woman, whatever it is. But the standards of commitment is far more different. It's far more greater. And so you need to look at people that are doing it correctly for inspiration and seek advice. And again, it's like we've been saying this whole time, is once it gets to a certain point, don't be arrogant. Don't have ego. Don't assume and think or believe you're going to find the right tools and the right information online, because it's just not going to happen. Yeah. Maybe if you want to build a $10,000 a month business off of the internet, you might find that on YouTube. Sure. But you're not going to find on YouTube exactly how to make $100,000 a month. You're going to have some general fundamentals that are going to help you get to $100,000 a month. Right. But for the specific niche and what you want to do and how you want to do it, now it's time to hire a coach that's going to go in there and find all the holes in your business for you to fill in the gaps and move the needle.
100%. What would you say about daily routine, man, for these guys that are like, okay, how do you organize your daily routine? What advice do you have for guys to organize their daily routine?
I think,
or their
and I know you've seen this because there's obviously a lot of like flack going around for like, you don't have to have a routine. It's kind of ridiculous. And the morning routines and all that stuff. Here's the thing,
maybe
like on some end, maybe some people don't, but most people, because of their bad habits and because of their undisciplined lifestyle, they kind of need the certain morning routine to help give them momentum until they're actually in a position where it's like, all right, I can just wake up, lock and go. I don't need the routine anymore. Like, yeah, but you get that has a building point.
So these guys are attacking the daily routine. Is it because of that video where the guy made his
Ashton
daily
Hall,
routine?
for example?
Yeah, where his routine's like super crazy, gnarly, savage.
It's 4 hours long.
Yeah, I love it, man. Good for him. But like these people would do this. They're so just rebellious. They're so weak. They're like, now routines are cool. We don't need routines. Like, homie,
but you know what?
There's certain non-negotiables in a day, I think. I don't know.
Most of the people that are hating on that are fucking broke ass dudes with broken ass bodies
at their mama's house.
A few. Now, hold on. Now, here's the thing. There are a few super successful people that have come in and said, you don't fucking need all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
I respect it.
And that's cool. I can respect that. But they have a right to say it.
Yeah.
Not the fucking losers that aren't making it in life.
That's what I picture in my head is these kids just being like, I don't need a routine. And I'm like, bro,
they're not even kids, dude. They're 35, 40, 50-year-old men talking shit. And it's like, dude, this guy has built
farther than him.
A 15 million following base. He's making several $100,000 a month. And you're going to shit on him because he has the way of how he wakes up. Like, you need his routine.
You need to follow his routine.
About? Like, what you talking about? That doesn't have to be 4 hours long.
Yeah.
Going back to your question is like, listen, you do need to have some kind of structure. Like, there needs to be a structure to like how you go to bed to when you wake up, what time you're going to wake up. What does that process look like? And again, it doesn't have to be a routine.
Yeah.
Like for me, I have a specific time that I try to go to sleep by. Sometimes I can't because I can't stop the clock in my head. My brain's just always going. But no matter what, I have a specific wake up time every single day. And that process in the morning, I have it's like a 1 hour routine. It's not really a routine. I wake up, I give my prayers, I pray to St. Michael, I pray to God and Christ, and then I go downstairs, and I wake up, have my coffee, pray a little bit more, read one of my books on self-development, and then I'll answer some emails, get some messages out. And I'm only going to answer to the people that are on the East Coast because I'm on the West Coast until it's an appropriate time to message the people that are on this side because I'm up very early. And then go to the gym, do my morning cardio by like 4 o'clock in the morning. So like I have these
Do your morning
specific
cardio
things.
by 4 o'clock in the morning. What time you getting up, bro?
Like 2:30-ish.
I remember being like, this is the only dude that I know wakes up. Like I just ain't got it, bro. like my guy's got that breakaway speed wake up, dog. Like he's just gone.
I used to get up at 2 sharp, and then I kind of pushed it back because now I'm going to sleep later than I used to. So I just kind of moved it backwards a little bit. The clock shifted, but I'm still running on, I'm not even going to talk about how many hours because people go crazy when they're like, there's no way.
Yeah. I love it, bro. I love it, man.
But again, I think you need to have a set time of when you want to go to sleep. Based on that sleep time, all electronics get cut off at least 30 minutes before. Texts, social media. TV might be okay because if it helps you unwind, that's fine. But anything social media based, phone based, electronic based, with the exception of if it's TV to help you wind down or like some good music that just helps you calm your soul, stop everything 30 minutes before and have a set time. Make that consistent. When you wake up, have a set wake up time every single day and a specific I guess we'll call it a morning routine, but not really. It's just like how you get up. I have 16 ounces of water right when I wake up, and then I make my coffee, and then I have my coffee, and then I go to the restroom, and then I wash my face, brush my teeth, all that jazz, and go for my morning cardio at 4 o'clock in the morning, and then in between that, I'm getting some work done. After that, I'm getting some work done.
Yeah,
get dressed, and then hit the ground running. Work as hard as I can for the next 6 hours, and then I'll go from actual weight training midday when my energy is declining. Go train really hard, get recharged, go into my mental space of working on me and working on the things that require me to contain because of who I am and where I come from and my addictions and my inheritance to violence and anger. Because again, that's the life I grew up in. So that is constant daily work. And then back to work after my hour and a half of training, and I work till the night is done. And obviously I'm eating every few hours in between all that stuff. Like that's my daily process.
Wow, man. I love it, dude. That's hardcore. And I love how hardcore it is, man. Like it inspired me. I started waking up.
It's very militant.
Yeah.
That's great.
100%, but it's necessary. I mean, for all, I think there's a thing around sleep where like we may have different requirements for sleep. My dad sleeps for 5 hours. I've always organically slept for 5 hours. When I go to sleep, I will wake up in 5 hours. But I hear some people that are like they just can't operate without 8 hours. And if I sleep 8 hours, I'm broken. Like my body.
I hate myself.
I hate myself. Exactly. I feel disgusting.
I hate myself. I'm like, oh my God, I already lost my day.
It's freaking lunchtime. I'm waking up at 6 a.m. and I hate it. My wife has to listen to me complain about it, being all pissed. The only time I sleep in now is if I'm cuddling with my kids. That's the only time out. That's the best stuff in life. But other than that, I'm killing. And I have specific days where I specifically plan to do that, where I stay up later and do different things.
Yeah, and
So
listen, like women do need 6 to 8 hours of sleep, depending on where their current health markers are at. Like for
yeah,
them, because their hormones respond differently than men do.
to everything.
But
Yeah.
I don't think there's. I don't believe. I don't give a shit. What this is the one
I
a few
love it.
times I don't
I
give a
love it.
shit what science says.
Yes,
Science
yes, get
is
him,
I don't believe any man needs
get
more
him.
than 5 to 6 hours of sleep. Period. Like you don't. You should be you should be loaded with
Love you,
testosterone. You should be loaded with
my guy.
inspiration and ambition. You're fucking going after to take over the earth for your life. Like,
Yeah,
why are you
man.
sleeping 8 hours a day? You don't have time to sleep 8 hours
Get
a day.
him.
You're not even making it in life yet. Like,
Yeah.
get your ass to bed,
Yep.
wake up 5 hours later,
Yep.
and get to work.
And start
You
hammering.
don't have time. If you sleep away a third of your fucking life, guess what? The 99% of the guys that are doing what you're doing are going to forever beat you because you are so far behind the damn clock. And here's the thing, even if you do make a great living and great money and got a great family, at the end of the day, still, like, you sleep 8 hours a day, and I look at you and I'm like, you're an inferior man.
Yeah,
Because
bro.
at the end of the day, men who want to constantly evolve and change the fucking earth and change people and change their life and continue to, again, evolve mentally, physically, spiritually.
Yep.
You sleeping away too much,
it's just not. You can't sign
you're
off.
You're lowering your frequency. No,
Yeah.
and here's the other thing too. Some people will try to argue like, "Well, that's not healthy," and I bet you're not healthy. And I say, okay, fine. So I sleep 4 hours a night, but people will try to be like, "That's unhealthy. You're probably very unhealthy." And I'm like, bro, like, trust me. I'm not unhealthy.
Yeah.
Like, I get my blood work checked regularly.
Yeah,
when I
yeah.
sleep, I'm in deep sleep. My
I
4 hours
die.
of deep
That's
sleep
true.
is far more deeper than your 7-8 hours of broke ass sleep. Like, and I'm winning in my life. I'm chasing my ambitions. Guess what? My ambition is going to keep me healthy because everything else, my self-talk, my internal dialogue, my relation with the man upstairs spiritually, all the other things are in the right place. So I'm pretty sure I'm not unhealthy.
Yeah, well, and you're jacked,
because you say so.
Yeah,
because science says so. And listen, here's the other thing too. I hate to say this, not to sound really arrogant. Science is designed to be proven wrong.
Yeah, that's true.
100%. That's why things are always evolving. That's why there's always new things coming out. That's why there's always new meta-analysis and meta research coming out, because it's designed. It's meant to be proven wrong for evolution, for that very specific reason.
Right.
Because, like, I know for a fact,
it happens all the time.
If they do a research study, most research studies on anything health and wellness based, physically, intellectually, it's all based on average people. So they take the average 100 people, then yes, 100% accurate. If you take 100 elite
savages,
men that are winning in life physically, financially, spiritually, in their family life, with maybe some holes here and there that they can get better at. But if you take 100 men that are like doing everything they're supposed to do, I can promise you're not going to see any fucking negative markers because they slept 4 or 5 hours a night.
Yeah.
Because these guys are operating at the highest level in life, and they're actually feeling really good about themselves, about their life, about the direction it's going. You're not going to see the same negative markers that you'll see in 100 average men doing these very same tests.
Yep. I 100% agree with you, because most all the savages I know, it's the same type of thing. We sleep 5 hours at the most, and we're up hammering. And 9 out of 10 scientists agree with whoever is funding the study. You know, like, that's the thing for me. Science is like the most pubescent. Like, we live on a planet that was designed with trillions of different systems working synergistically to support an experience of life that we can't even begin to fathom the probability of consciousness, the probability of life, that you have 50, 60 trillion cells that are all doing different functions with your heart beating without you even being and breathing without any level of consciousness. Like, the amount of miracles that we're saturated in, that layer upon layer upon layer upon layer, from the universal level to the subatomic level of miracles happening in this whole thing, that science can't even begin to unmcniggler I just can't even with science sometimes. Like there's some good stuff in there, you know what I mean? But like it's
No,
the
most things is right, but there's a lot that's also not totally accurate if you actually look at the examples they're using.
yeah. Well, yeah. And if you understand statistics and you start to dig into like the actual models they're running, you're like, well, Jesus, this isn't going to pertain to me because of these different markers. But like, in my opinion, man, like if I feel something instinctively, I'm going with it because the intuition, the knowledge that God's put on the inside of my heart, it's
Yeah,
a technology that science can't even begin to touch.
yeah,
And so my wife is
no,
she laughs because I'm constantly like what you said when you're like these, I don't know if because I struggle with the same thing. I don't know if I can believe that these ninjas really need 8 hours of sleep, man. I'm like, I'm being
no,
nice about
man.
it. I was being nice about it. You just said it. I was like, you sure you need 8 whole entire hours of sleep, dog? Because I think you can wake up sleepy at 5 hours. You can like do what I do. I roll out of
And
bed.
you'll
I
be
got
charged.
Yep, I take my neurotropics. I go straight to the gym. I have my quiet time with God in the morning. I wake up. I take my brain supplements and 100 milligrams of caffeine, and I go to the gym after my quiet time with God, bro. And I'm hammering. And I live a purpose-driven life. So I'm in a war
Yeah.
to execute and manifest a mission that I believe God sent me here to execute and manifest. So I'm living, I'm chasing, I'm manifesting, I'm experiencing fulfillment. I'm watching my life elevate as I manifest what I believe God sent me to the planet just to serve on these levels. So that alone will cause you to wake up without an alarm clock.
Yeah, look, you don't have to accept. This is the thing too, and this is very important for everyone to understand. You don't have to accept or submit to a narrative or a supposed belief system that's going to make you feel like you're operating at a lesser level.
Yeah, exactly. That's where I'm at.
Just because someone said so, because science says so. Because if you intuitively believe I can operate at this level, but if I start doing this because they said so, I'm gonna feel like I'm gonna operate at a lower level, then don't fucking do it. And like I'll give you a perfect example. One of my clients is actually my attorney as well. He is one of the top. He's arguably one of the top attorneys in all of Las Vegas and all of Nevada, and I'd probably put him in the top 5 to top 10 in the entire country. Yeah, and he's also a former Marine as well.
Semper Fi. What's up?
Yeah, yeah, and he's super successful. This man literally works 100-hour weeks, so that's why him and I get along very well and have that level of respect for each other. He works hard.
Yeah.
He'll do multiple cases at one time where most attorneys can't, or don't understand how the hell he does it. But point being is, he took me on to coach him and start getting him healthier, stronger, optimize his hormones and just become a healthy fucking unit like he used to be when he was in the military. And again, he's already crushing it financially. He's got a beautiful family, beautiful wife he's been married to for, I don't know, 20 some odd years. He's got 2 great kids. Mid-20s, and I think they're both mid-20s.
No,
and when we and when we first started coaching, he was also this right before we started. They wanted him to. Somebody convinced him to go talk to doctors about his sleep apnea problem, and so they sent him home with a machine. And it's recorded, all the information get like their main database. And when he told me about it, I said, "What's the point of this thing?" He's like, "Well, it's a sleep app machine. It's supposed to help me sleep better and put this thing on my face, and it's also going to record any kind of events that I have that disrupts my sleep and blah blah blah, whatever." And I'm like, "Let me tell you something." I'm like, before we even get started, I can tell you right now, your problems of rest, even though you don't need it and you start operate just fine on. And he literally sleeps 3-4 hours a night as well. I'll tell you, is that you're unhealthy, bro. You have unhealthy habits. You eat like shit. You got all the money in the world. Why are you eating like shit? You eat like shit. You snack on bullshit. You're not hydrated enough. Your hormones are probably suboptimal. And the only reason why you probably might have even good testosterone levels is because you're such a savage at business and life, and you're so aggressive that it would be very hard to even believe that you would have low testosterone levels because you're super ambitious in life, period. And you got a great marriage as well. So I'm like, but I can promise you, if we change the way you train, if we change the way you eat, if we change and optimize your hormones, I promise you, not only is it going to fix and improve your quality of rest in the small little time frames that you sleep, but you'll become even more savagery if it's possible. This would be it in your business. And you're going to be more successful, and you're going to have even more mental clarity, and you're going to be able to collect more data mentally. And I'm like, and I'll tell you something, this machine will try to brainwash you into thinking and believing you're broken. So now watch this. So fast forward.
Okay, gun right there, bro.
A month in, you know, we're chatting almost daily. He's texting me every day. He's calling me. At this point, we're like 4 or 5 months in now. But the first month, he's texting me, calling me every day, make sure he stays accountable. He's eating right in between his clients and whatnot.
Nice.
And then a few weeks, 3 to 4 weeks in, he starts telling me, he's like, hey, so now this machine is recording me. It's telling me I didn't get good rest. It's telling me that I had 27 events last night and I didn't get good sleep. And I'm like, 27 events? I'm like, do you feel like you woke up 27 times? He's like, no. He's like, but it says I did. And I'm like, okay. So you had 27 events. It's telling you didn't get good sleep. We've now been working together for a month. And mind you, we're talking at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
I'm like, do you feel unrested? He's like, no. How many hours did you sleep last night? 4. Do you feel groggy? No. Do you feel brain fog? No. Do you feel weak? No. I'm like, so I want you to understand this fucked up machine.
Get these, burn them at the stakes.
Brainwashing you to believe you're broken. It's going to make you believe you're not getting good rest. It's going to make you believe you should be tired. Eventually, this thing will brainwash you into believing you have all these dysfunctions in your rest and in your mind taking place, when it's an absolute fallacy, because I just proved it wrong in 30 days. You're waking up stronger, more mental clarity, more self-clarity, more improvement in your physical function. You feel wonderful. You feel great. You feel strong. How in God's earth can this machine be telling you the exact opposite of what you're actually feeling?
Right.
That means this machine is trying to tell you, these doctors trying to tell you, you have bad patterns and you need to stay on this machine, and they're trying to medicate you in whatever version of their way of medicating you will be, to make you keep paying these guys. When I just fixed all that holistically.
No, 100%, bro. And I believe this is the problem I have with the medical industry. I think it's terrorism, man. And the psychology industry. I got a master's in psychology. I know exactly how the dang machine works. They give you an identity, and it's terrorism. You go in there and you sit there and they say, this is what's wrong with you. I got a white coat and a stethoscope, so I get to tell you what the deal is. I went to school for this. I'm smarter than you. And then they start to speak into your identity. And if you don't know who you are, and if you don't, especially if you don't have a source, if you don't have God, like, you're just susceptible. And there's two frequencies in this world. There's faith and there's fear. And the way you're going to address that, a lot of time, logic hides out, disguised as fear, is how so many people move. That's how they dominated human beings during the whole pandemic and got dudes jabbed up, and all this stuff is it's all fear based through logic. And they talk to you, go to college. I'm in my master's class, and all they're telling me is like, cite your sources. You don't know what you're talking about. What you're saying and doing doesn't work. You need to listen to
these all they have.
Dead guys who lived like,
they have.
Yeah, like these guys lived like 50 years ago. I've read 250 self-help books before coming to this class about current psychology. And now you're going to tell me I got to go back and listen to like Floyd and these guys and their dead theories. And I get out, right? And I'm doing my prac app, and I'm in this group home with these dudes who are a bunch of addicts. And I start counseling these dudes, bro. And I break the mold, of course, because I'm like, I'm not going to sit here and do all this bull crap and listen to you talk about your feelings, homie. Like, you come in a counseling session with me, I'm not a nice guy. I'm a good man. Yeah. And so I start blasting on these fools. I'm like, look, homie, seems like you're actually a really smart dude. I'm like, but right now you're so smart, you got yourself into trouble, and life is basically daring you to find a way to get yourself back out and get back on track, or else you will die. That's the game, homie. It's do or die. You either win at this or you freaking are just gonna die and no one's gonna care. And that's reality. And these boys in this group home, they started being like, I just want to talk to Byron, bro. He's the only one in here who just shoots me straight. I'm like, F your feelings, homie. The reality is masculinity is based on results. You have to find the results, man. And so what I hate about the medical industry is they'll do that to you. They'll plant a seed. They'll give you an identity. Oh, you have this condition. Psychology.
And
Oh,
you'll
you
start to
have
believe it.
PTSD. And you integrate this into your identity. And the next thing you know, they have control over you. And then the way I read everything in this world, in the world system, is I look at who benefits. If there's a war kicking off, at the beginning of that war, I look and see who's going to benefit from the next money moves that are made. You follow the money, you'll always find the truth. When these doctors start giving you these, they don't heal you. They deal with your symptoms. They just treat your symptoms forever.
They treat the symptoms. Yeah,
and then you get more symptoms. Everything is all about treating inflammation, not getting rid of inflammation. The whole entire Western cabinet of treatments is all about treating your inflammation, not getting rid of your inflammation. And so all it is it's designed, the system of the world, the system of mammon, the system of money. It's all designed for money. And so I sit there and I'm like, this machine is literally like a spot. It's an implant into your house to brainwash you into feeling like you're a lesser man, you're broken, and you now need them. And that's what's dangerous about it. That's about all that stuff, man. And if the guy just goes with his instincts, he's like, nah, man, I feel like a savage. All my numbers are getting better. If you get your physical life together, you'll operate at a higher level in your relationships, in your spirituality, in your business. You'll become a lion. And that's what we're doing here. And that now, trust that rather than what these people are monetizing out of you and your identity, man. The consumer industry does the same thing.
It's wild. And people, and even when you look at the thing that people don't understand is that when you go far backwards in the time, this is when I dropped out of psychology because I was going to get my BA in it. And I dropped out because when I found out that psychology started with a guy because of an idea. Psychology is man-made is a man-made idea by one individual. I forgot his name. Yeah, because when I was going to it, and I think we're halfway through the semester, and I don't remember why. I don't know if we went out of order, if it was the teacher that I had or whatnot. But we're halfway into semester, and they start talking about where Psychology 101 started, where it even started, who started it, where it came from. And as they think they're educating us on this, I'm looking at it obviously from a whole different perspective. And I'm hearing this. It was a man who made up the word psychology based off an idea, and they go into this whole thing, and I'm like, what? So psychology is not even a real thing. It's a man-made thing based off of an idea, and now, it's just all theory, which is why 99% of the entire industry of psychology and psychiatry is based off of control and treatment versus assessing and solving the core root of the problem. There are very, very few psychiatrists that actually understand what needs to be done to find the core root of the problem, solve it, and get this person back into normal life and feeling good about themselves. There are very, very few people because, again, it's all based off an idea. And so when I fire back at some people like, oh, tell us you don't have a degree in psychology without telling us you don't have a degree in psychology. And I'm like, motherfucker, like I will still run circles around every single person who's a psychologist that thinks they know something when they know nothing. Because at the same time, these very same people think they can help an addict, an alcoholic get well when they can't, because they don't even understand what's happening up here. They're not even doing a factual brain scan of where are all the holes and the discrepancies that are taking place inside their mind, so you know what to attack. You're going based off of an addiction, a symptom, how they feel, what's going on, and now you're just going to treat it with medication, but yet you have no idea what's happening inside the brain that's causing this to exist, because you shouldn't want to put the person on medication because they're depressed. You shouldn't want to put that person on medication because they're an addict. You're gonna take them from one form of psychosis, which is being an addict, to a fucking psychopath, because you're going to feed them antipsychotic drugs. So they're either going to turn into an absolute nut job or they're going to turn into a zombie. One of the two things happen. And guess what? I've seen both. I've seen people turn into complete zombies because of this kind of treatments and the medication they get on. I've also seen, which happened to my best friend when he was being treated, because he had high energy at some points and low energy at some points. So they had him on both Adderall and Ritalin 2 different times of the day.
Yeah.
I literally saw my best friend at the time go psycho, literally psychotic in real time.
Yeah.
Grabs his sword. We used to collect weapons. Grabs his sword, stares at himself in the mirror as he's crying and like as he's starting to like show him how his brain's gonna explode. And he drives a sword through his mirror. Mirror shatters everywhere. I'm standing right next to him. In a form of where he's trying to envision him killing himself and he's like, dude, I think this medication is killing me.
Yeah, it is. And the
He's
number
like, I need to come off.
No, bro, it's 100%. The number of veterans on psychotics that have killed themselves is through the roof. Every single active shooter that we have seen over the last documented, I don't know. You guys can verify this. I've seen it in a meme the other day, so it may not even be true. But it's like almost every active shooter that we've had that's made the news was on some psychology of psych meds. And the reality is, and here's the coldest truth, and there's something to it. Like there's something to some of the stuff that I'm not saying 100% of it's garbage, but I'm saying a lot of it is. A lot of it. What I will also say is 90% of it just is what you did. What you did. You went to the mother freaking gym. You get in a cold plunge, get to the gym, start working your body, start working through those hormones, start working through that stuff, start doing things for other people. The things that lead you back to the light are things that are free that you will find in places like the Bible that are 100% free. You know what? I feel depressed. I'm going to make myself get up and go hit the gym. I'm going to make myself go to a homeless shelter and take care of people who have way worse problems. And I'm going to sit and talk with them today. I'm going to give. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to make myself do these things and operate at a higher level. And what ends up happening, you start to become that person. I mean, if you can walk away from what you walked away from using these principles for free, I'm telling you, man, that's the true salvation, the way that they don't want you to see. And it's that you don't.
Yeah, they don't want you to be free.
It's the same thing with food.
They don't want you to be free mentally and physically.
And it's the same thing with food. Oh, I need all this supplement. You know what you need to do? You need to eat one ingredient foods that came from the earth that don't have a bunch of GMO in it. And what you're going to find is that if man made it, it's probably killing you. And if God made it, it probably ain't that bad. Just don't eat too much. Yeah. This is literally the wisdom of like the world and of God that is here at our fingertips. But they want to tell you that you need to do it man's way. And
have you seen the interview? This is I want to say the interview is probably like 20 years old or something, but the interview with Tom Cruise on antipsychotic drugs.
Yeah, he goes ham on homeboy.
He schools the guy. He even says, he's like, before I got into Scientology, I went and I full-blown studied psychology and psychiatry all the way to its beginning and what the entire purpose of it is. And he literally says, which is what I've been preaching the last 2 decades of me being sober and being in the space that I've been, is he's like, you cannot be feeding antipsychotic drugs to people who are depressed and having all these different symptoms or problems that are going on, because all it does is make them worse. You're treating a symptom that just band-aids a situation that ends up when the band-aid comes off, they start to bleed out. He's like, the true medicine to depression, to anxiety, and all these other psychological issues that people have going on is exercise and nutrition. Like he literally says that. He said, and here's the thing too. I've been saying it for the longest time. Legitimate exercise, not I go for a walk or I lifted 5 pounds, like real exercise, real like tumultuous
death,
physical resistance, and high quality, nutrient dense foods is real medicine. And most people don't want to accept it because, again, it's boring, it's redundant, it's monotonous. But what people don't understand is you consume fruits, dark vegetables, the right carbohydrates at the right time, and make sure that you're consuming lean quality proteins, lean dense proteins, white meat, lean beef, 90% or more, white, chicken breast, white turkey, stay away from pork as much as possible. Yeah. Like you eat all these things in the right the right amounts of them, your body will heal. You could have any kind of injury going on. You could have any kind of mental issue going on. your body will heal. These things are legitimate medicine because your body doesn't get enough nutrients and vitamins to sustain being healthy. And that's why all these ailments start to take place internally and externally. And if you just eat right and eat healthy and don't neglect your body, the very thing that it needs,
work it out. Yeah.
It will heal.
Yeah. And it's such
like
a miracle.
Both her and I have had some serious injuries. Like she's torn a meniscus. I've torn my right shoulder. I've fucking injured nerves that completely wiped out like movement. And with proper exercise, proper nutrition, no medication, no pain meds. I know some people can't deal with it, but consistency every day, our bodies have healed.
Yeah.
We've never had to go do surgery when every doctor told us, go get surgery. Second opinions told both of us, go get surgery. I'm like, there's no fucking way. I'm going to refuse. I have to have surgery until I go 12 months hard on a proper holistic recovery process.
Yep.
And guess what? 6 months later, both of us have healed our problems.
Yep. 100%. And that's what they don't want you to know. Yo, real quick, last topic, real quick, bro.
Yeah.
What about this red pill stuff, bro? Yeah, I'm saying, what do you, you know, like, I know there's something to it. I know there's something to it. Men are hurting, you know, and men need advice, you know, they need advice. But like, let's talk a little bit about red pill culture.
The problem with red pill culture is it's demonizing women.
Yeah.
And my thing is like, I'm going to demonize the men first.
Of course.
Because
it's all our fault.
Because like, listen, yeah, the red pill culture is trying to say like, oh, women, they're gold diggers. They just want you for your money and blah, blah, blah. Well, listen, to some extent, the right woman who's going to be a homemaker is looking for proper provision. Yeah. Like in order to be a homemaker, she needs provision. She needs protection. So you can't just pretend like, you know, them looking for a man who's either already successful or on the right path.
Yeah.
And she can help him. You can't pretend like that's not part of the equation. But
it's righteous.
Yeah. And you know what? The guys that get fucking used and taken advantage of, like, first of all, like you're fucking around in the wrong pool.
Yeah.
First of all, like stop going in the pool where there's degenerate females who don't have family values and moral values. Like you playing in that pool, bro, you deserve to get fucking taken advantage of.
Peter Panning around in there, you're gonna get wrecked.
I mean, come on, what are we doing? And then you're hanging out with dudes who you and I would label as fuck boys. They want to go out, fuck around, do stupid things, and then pretend like they shouldn't be taken advantage of or shit shouldn't happen to them. Please, like you're the one that's playing with fire. And also, it's not godlike either to top it all off. Like, so next, bring it back to the men. If you had actual standards, if you cared about your mental and physical fitness, if you cared about your spiritual fitness, if you cared about the things that helps you evolve as a man, and you cared about standards, principles, values, and moral conduct and spirituality, not spirituality, but like God, then you're naturally going to have a standard that deflects the wrong women and attracts the right woman for you to choose who you want to have a nice relationship with. And to top it off, you're going to deflect all the fuckboys that you got no business being friends with anyways, because men that can sit there and degrade and talk shit about women, even if some of the women are in the wrong, but sitting there to degrade and talk shit about them just makes you a fucking lesser of a man anyways, and a man that's not worth having friends with. Because at the end of the day, if you can talk shit about women like that, then I'm going to have to believe you're going to talk shit about my wife behind my back. Because that's your belief system on women.
And it's weak.
And if I find that out, I'm going to break you. Like, this isn't, I mean, it's not, that's why I say, like, men who associate with men that sit there and have nothing good to say about women as if we don't both need each other to create unity, then those are not good people to be friends with. Those are not good people to be associating with.
Yeah.
And you don't even want those kind of people to have your name attached in association with them, because if it ever gets back, I mean, it's just not a good look. It's not something to be prideful of. Like, I don't give a shit about being friends with someone who's extremely wealthy and then sits there and talks shit about women and degrades women. Because the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to at least talk shit about men before I talk shit about women, because men are the fucking problem. If most men maintained the standard they should have as they did in the past, then none of this degenerate behavior would exist anyways, because you wouldn't be
Literally.
feeding into it. You wouldn't be paying into it.
Literally. Yeah.
They would be broke. They'd be poor. They'd be homeless. They'd be on the streets. They
Yep.
wouldn't know what to do. They would have to adhere.
They would assimilate to higher values.
Traditional roles. Now, that doesn't mean a woman can't go work either, because some women like to hustle. Totally love that. Respect that.
Respect it.
Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, women who mistreat men are men who don't have standards.
Yeah.
Women who use men, I mean, sure. So what if they're a 10 out of 10 on attractiveness? They're empty inside, but so are you, bro. So you're attracting another empty person.
Yeah.
And then you expect to get some kind of fulfillment while you're empty, and you want fulfillment from another empty human?
Well, that's
what are we talking about here?
I think that's one of the tricks, one of the things that guys don't realize about the dating game, about the attraction game, even about what you're able to create as a human. You're only going to ever attract things and people who are on the level that you're on. You're only ever going to be able to create and manifest things that are on the level that you're on. And that's why personal development is the seat of all of these things. That's why God's going to take you on a path to get you to work on every weakness that you have if you have a relationship with him. And he's going to perfect you and make you level up, because like, even if he has a wife for you, you have so much work to do before you can become the man you need to be in order to actually properly lead / serve her in the right ways.
Yeah.
And with servant leadership, which is, baby, I love you, but we're gonna go higher, we're gonna go better. She's gonna have to watch you in the gym. She's gonna watch you in the kitchen. She's gonna watch you in business. She's gonna watch you, and then she's the influence that I have over the people in my tribe has literally come from them being like, this is serious. Like my chick will tell you, like, he's crazy. And one of my best friends told me, he was like, man, I just feel bad for your girl, man. Like, she just ain't gonna be able to have a normal life. Like, she just ain't gonna be able. And I'm like, you're dang right, homie. But this whole
but you know what? She doesn't want one.
She doesn't want that.
Want
That's
a
not what she
normal
chose.
life.
You know, and he was cracking a joke.
And you know what's crazy?
Yeah.
But you know what's crazy is this was such a proud moment for me, is when you and I went to dinner, and for the first time,
they got to hear us.
My spouse and your spouse. No, for the first time, they got to meet another person's spouse that's in this, that has a partner who has a certain mental game that's like, this is life. Standards. These are the rules. These are the principles. These are the values and standards, not controlling rules, but just rules of life.
Yeah.
And standards, adhering to them is what keeps us safe.
Yeah.
And I would assume, I could be wrong, you tell me, but for the first time, your wife meets another woman that's like, holy shit, I'm not alone in this.
Yeah, no, there's an instant friendship. There's an instant intimacy.
I can share a relation with another woman who's got just as much of a crazy man as I do.
100%. And it's awesome, man.
And that goes a very long way.
And they just...
It's the one of very few times where I'll say that is the correct type of validation that they both needed.
Yep, 100%.
From each other, from being that kind of a spouse.
Yeah, because our women can't just hang out with normal women either, because they have the same mantle, the same anointing that we have, the same the energy, the last name, all these things. They're stuck in this situation where they go be around normal women like we go be around normal guys, and they're just sitting there like my wife will come back and be like, I can't even with these chicks. Like, they're just they're not about anything. The same thing. Their values are garbage. They just sit there. And at first, when they first get with us, it's funny. Like, they're still kind of like breaking away from normal society. So they think we're crazy for a while. Then over the years, they start to be like, there's wisdom in this. And they start to see the fruit of our intensity and work ethic.
And not just that. And they end up seeing the treachery amongst their girlfriends, the deceit that's hidden with their friendship, because they're like, we heard them both say, they're like, I started seeing things that I didn't even know was there until after I started relationship with this man, and I'm seeing all kinds of weird hatred and low key use that I just didn't know what's happening, and it just opened up their eyes to like, oh my god, like. So this is what it's like to live in a true reality, not a superficial reality, not rainbow world, not unicorns and fucking nonsense, like real life, like real standards that basically force me to see the reality of how people are showing up in my life. And they realize like, whoa, the people that are showing up in my life are not for me.
They're garbage. Yeah. So I would
They're
say,
low key against me, but they pretend on a surface level to be for me when they're really there to use me and take advantage of me in whatever degree that means.
right, and all the feel coolness. But yeah, man, no, I love it, man. And so I guess to sum this all up, man, I would say on the red pill stuff, there's so much information out there. I think the main thing, guys, is you have to realize that the buck starts and stops with you as a man.
They do.
Women may have female delusion. They may have all these different things, but like when I show up in a female space, she is going to experience what it's like to be part of my kingdom. I am in control. Things are as good as by the grace of God, I can make them. Like you set the tone and you are responsible.
Well, you're going to attract.
You're going to
attract what you are, what you
on
become.
The level. Yep. What's on your level. And so if you want higher quality, it's the same thing. If you want a higher quality life, you got to make higher quality decisions. You want to make higher quality decisions, you need higher quality information. You want to attract a higher quality mate, the same thing. You need higher quality information. You need to make higher quality decisions. You need to become a higher quality man. And you got
to be around high quality people.
100%. And for some of us, you can't find high quality people. This is the age of information. For me, I couldn't be around high quality people. So what did I do? I spent all day with audiobooks, and trying to make myself better.
Yeah.
Full of fives.
Just change up here.
100%, man. You rise as high as your 5 closest friends. So for me, for a while, my 5 closest friends were the best audiobooks I could get a hold of, listening to them on the way to work. Those were my friends for years, and it changed my life. So, man, good stuff, bro. I think we blasted with this one. Send it.
Dude, she said when I told her, I was like, oh, I'm about to start my podcast with Byron. She's like, oh God, you're going to be on there the whole night. And I'm like, she's like, you guys can talk forever. And I was like, 100%, that's true, but we'll see how it goes. But she wasn't lying, and she wasn't wrong either.
No,
again, and this is, you know what? Another piece of a message for everybody is like, this is what happens, because for those that don't know, when Byron and I get together in real life, whether it's to dinner or we're going out somewhere else, or if it's like us as couples, like even off camera, this is how him and I communicate. This is our regular day to day. This is our regular talk. And the spouses will tell you the same thing. So you can just ask them that. And these are the type of people you want to find, people that are trying to fly in the same direction with the same standards, with the same belief system, because the communication, the conversation, the connection is literally limitless. When you go find people that are trying to move the same way that you're trying to move. And it's not going to be a lot. It's going to be one out of every 10,000 people you meet 100%. That are going to be literally at the very same wavelength as you are. And you can feed off each other. You can feed each other, and you just keep elevating together. Even though him and I are in 2 different complete industries, we still run on the same principles, the same values, the same faith, and obviously integrity, honor, and loyalty are all 3. The triangle is our number 1 virtue at the top of everything, just below God. I mean, it's all kind of tied together, really.
Right.
But that's why it's endless. That's why a podcast like this goes, what are we, almost 2.5 hours in?
2.5. Yep.
Yeah. But for that very reason. And that's why I say audit the type of people you're around, because if you do true auditing and you don't skip a beat and you don't try to pretentiously, I'm going to overlook this, it's not that big of a deal. I'm going to overlook that, it's not that big of a deal. Trust me, every fine detail is a big deal, because things is the differentiation, is the difference maker of whether these are people that you can go into the battlefield with or not. Because I can tell you, if this dude calls me, or if I call him at 2 or 3 in the morning that, yo, something happened, like I need you, him and I are not going to be afraid to catch the first flight and head over to each other and or shit, we might call, and one of us is like, where do you need me with the shovels? Like that's the type of relations you're trying to establish and build. Right. Exactly. From that one movie.
I love it.
And I can't stress and emphasize enough that when you really define the excellence and the type of standards you want for yourself, and you live by that, and it can't be a standard that's easy for you to meet. It has to be so high up that it challenges you on a daily basis. And as long as you continue to keep falling in line with that, you can demand the very same thing from the people around you, and they'll either meet it or they'll fall off. If they fall off, it's okay. Don't try to save them, because that's damaging. It's going to become destructive at some point, because then they'll come back on board for the wrong reasons.
Right.
But as long as you're adhering to them and you're staying in line with them, you're going to attract the right people, which is going to be very, very few, because 4 quarters is far more greater than 100 pennies. You'll have your 4 quarters, but it's something you find over time. It's not 3, 6, 12 months. This is an over time thing. Byron and I have both been on this path of what we do for a very long time. And him and I just became friends, I think 3 years ago, maybe 4. But in that time frame, our relation has developed and established, because we started to realize, like, hey man, like, you and I are singing the same song in life.
Yeah. No, 100%. And I can love anybody, but like true closeness and affection is reserved for peers. So it's like when you're an eagle and you're flying by yourself constantly, and then all of a sudden you see another eagle, you're like, hey, bro. Like, you're instantly boys. You're like, what you doing up here, bro? And you're like, do you know what I had to do to get up here? And he's like, yeah, bro, I had to do the same stuff. And you're like, man, and it's like an instant connection. It's like, that's awesome. I remember when I found out you slept less than me, I was like, this guy's my guy, bro. Near-death experience. I'm like, this is my guy, bro. This dude's a hammer, man. And the value, serious,
and one last thing too is Steven said, like, after dinner that night, what was like a month ago or so, when we got in the car, it's very rare. Like, there's obviously other couples we've hung out with, we've gone out with, that we're like, oh yeah, they're cool. Like, I like them. They're good people. Da, da. But it's but this is one of the very few times, actually maybe the only time, that we got in the car and she's like, I really like them. Yep. That looks like a guy that's running on the same fuel. Like, I swear to God, that's exactly what you said. Seems like a guy that runs on the same fuel that you are, between like your belief system with God and the way you run in life. Like, I really like them. Like, those are that's a wife I want to hang out with.
Yep. And
I was like, I tried to tell you, like, that is a mirror image black version of me.
Yeah, no, and that stuff brings life to you, man, because like in our world, even it's like it's lonely in a way, because we're on the path, we're up before the sun's up, we're hammering, right? And for them, it's the same thing, because they get pulled up with us to these places, and it's like it's hard to find people like that have those same qualities and values. So when you meet, it's like, I'm not crazy. My husband's actually not crazy. They're just 1%ers, and we're 1% wives, and so we can't hang out with the rest of the females. So gentlemen, and this is something that's been big for me lately, bigger than it's ever been, because I was like, God will bring me friends when the time. I have boys, I have homies, but like peers, I remember kind of for a long time just being like, I don't know, man, I'm just being about my Father's business. I'm executing on what he wants me to execute on. But lately, I've had this tribe of eagles that is starting to show up, and I'm looking around and I'm like, yo, we got a gang of solid juggernauts, spiritual juggernauts, and I'm playing with this griffin image, and it's like these dudes are lions on ground, physically potent, like I could walk into a room with these dudes, me, you, some of the other homies, and they're physically imposing, but then also spiritually they're developed, and that's where the eagle comes in. If I need to move in the spirit realm, I can move with these guys in the spirit as well. And these are the types of individuals you want, because if you only have one, you're still vulnerable by the one you don't have. And so these are the types of people you want to spend time with, man. It's an honor, bro.
Dude, always a good time.
Yeah, bro.
Always a good time.
Yeah, man. Anyways, we got to find more excuses to hang out. This was awesome.
We'll actually have to,
come up to Cali or
after the summer's over, because I just hate traveling when it's super hot. But after the summer kind of dies down, we should plan like a retreat for the 4 of us.
Yeah,
and just get out of town. We can, I don't want to call it Bible study, but you and I can really we can just go into our talks on God and life and relationships and business and just really, like I said, it's like, call it exactly what it is. It's like a sabbatical retreat, but with the four of us, they can kind of, learn from each other. We can learn from each other and just kind of get away from the worlds that we're dealing with and just take that experience to the level. It kind of sounds gay, but it's cool.
Nah, but it's not though. I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm thinking the same thing. There's a small handful of people that I'm like, if we all got away and got in the same room for a few days or whatever it is, only God knows what we would come out of that room with. Either learning from each other or even bringing our businesses together.
Just spiritually charged, emotionally charged.
Exactly. So, hey, you guys, there's something coming, man. There's always something coming. Hey, heck yeah. It's an honor.
Much love, bro. Tell the wife I said hello. And man, we'll talk soon. I can't wait to I can't wait to see this episode.
This will drop. It'll be heavy, man. Heck yeah.
Yeah, we'll clip some stuff up, put it together.
Oh, you know it. Same.
Yeah. All right, bro. Have a good night.
Till next time. Boom.
Boom. What's up, guys? So check it out. Podcast, all the free content, all the things are supported by Patreon. So if you're listening to any of these episodes and it's a blessing to you, it's helping you in life, we now have our Patreon platform up. It's also a really cool place where I consolidate all my content. And so you actually get to see everything because the algorithms, for whatever reason, don't always show you everything. But anyways, if you want to support the podcast, this stuff's not free. Getting these videos edited, published, paying people to do all this stuff, syndication strategy, putting it all out, it ain't free. But it's an honor to do so. And I believe it's my work and it's what God wants me to do. So if you guys want to join forces and help support that work, I want to invite you to check in the show notes, join us on Patreon. The whole give a cup of coffee. For what you pay for a cup of coffee, you can really help me out quite a bit actually getting this thing going, keeping this thing going. All right. God bless. Semper Fi. Thank you for being here. We love you guys. Boom. When it comes to the technology you use to protect your home, there's nothing better than Deep Sentinel. AI-driven, human-monitored technology that will keep you and your family safe for the same price you're paying for whatever Ring doorbell system you have. Check out Deep Sentinel. It's such an honor to join forces with these guys. They should be in every single house in the world. Get real-time Overwatch for you and your loved one. And for 10% off, depending on when you're watching this, don't forget to use code BYRON at checkout.
Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called sons of God.